Hello and welcome into my second live feed for today. It is still Thursday, the 23rd of March, 2023. And of course, I'm still Carey Holzman. I am a little backed up in work and I thought I'd use this opportunity to make another live video to show you how I refurbish the computers I'm buying off of eBay that we're using as giveaways for community members that are military veterans or families in need, people in need, who need a reliable, reasonable computer to connect online. Now, these computers that I'm buying off of eBay are called HP EliteDesk. The EliteBook is a laptop. The HP EliteDesk, and they have a G1, a G2, and a G3 model of varying configurations. And there are some people on eBay that will sell these for under $100, and there are others who will sell these for $200 or $300. So be aware of your seller. Also pay attention to where your seller is located, as that will affect your shipping time. If you're buying, like it's silly for me to buy from an eBay seller in Florida who's got to ship those computers across the country for me to refurbish them and then turn around and send them back to Florida again, since most of the giveaways are going to the East Coast, in Florida in particular, for some strange reason. If you live in Florida and the seller's in Florida, you might get your unit in 2 days. So what I've done here is I've included a couple of links from one particular buyer. The reason I've highlighted this buyer is because they're a professional PC refurbisher and they have probably hundreds of units. Now, this is a G2 model, which was $5 less. There's no operating system included, but the product code is embedded in the OS. These are not Windows 11 compatible, and these will be good easily until the end of 2025. After that, you should get rid of them or put Linux or some other supported operating system. They are not and will never be Windows 11 compliant, all right? So they're just meant to be something for people in need to get online and communicate with family and friends, watch YouTube videos. These are pretty basic machines, an i5, 6th generation chip. So by the end of 2025, when Windows 10 support ends, these are going to be like 10 years old. All right, and these are built like a tank. These are business class machines, which means they were likely leased in a large corporation. And when they went off lease, they were sold to recover whatever they can financially from them. And they wipe the drives. Sometimes they reinstall the operating system. They never update the BIOS, never, ever, ever. So the BIOS oddness, we're going to have to update it if we want the best possible experience. Sometimes they blow the dust and dirt out. Sometimes they don't. That's something you got to watch for. Many sellers on eBay will strip these. They'll strip them of the CPU. They'll strip them of the storage. They'll strip them of the RAM. They'll even strip them of the power brick, and they'll sell them for 35 bucks. So before you hit that buy it now button because you see such a great deal, it is critical that you read the details of the product description, or you're a victim of yourself. Now, many of these I'm seeing sold without Wi-Fi and without Bluetooth, but they are including a solid state drive, RAM, and small storage. And usually they also have a power brick, but it's important because if they're missing the RAM, if they're missing the storage, if they're missing the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, if they're missing the power brick, if you have to buy all that separately, you're going to spend way more money than you intended on. So keep shopping. Then look at the seller's feedback. See that they have preferably around 100 pieces of feedback greater than a 96% approval rating. That's my personal limit. Then look at where they're located. If they're far away from you and you're not in a hurry to receive the unit, that's fine. But there are so many sellers on eBay, so many. You could spend hours sifting through the G1s, G2s, and G3s of varying states and conditions in different locations around the United States, all priced differently. And they're not all 6th gen. Some are as old as 4th gen, and some are as new as 8th gen. So the newer it is, the more it's going to cost. Now, in general, the PC refurbishers, they know exactly what they have is worth. You'll know if they're a PC refurbisher because next to quantity, it'll say more than 10 available. If it's just somebody who has one laying around, they're only going to have one. That's usually where you're going to find your bargain, because a lot of times they just want to get rid of it. They don't really know what it's worth. They don't really know what it is, but they can tell you, you know, it's complete. So there is a little bit of risk with this because there's no warranty. The warranty is long gone on these, but because they are built for business, these things are built like a tank. Now, this one I just received in the mail today. I actually ordered 4 from this particular seller, and it looks like they're sold out on the G2, but they have a lot of the G3s. And you're going to need, if you're going to plug this into an HDMI port, most business machines from Dell and HP are DisplayPort only. So you're going to want a DisplayPort to an HDMI adapter. They're under $7 on Amazon here in the US. It's not a big deal. You can plug that into your DisplayPort, and now you can just use your regular HDMI cable. Or if you want, Amazon sells a DisplayPort cable that's HDMI on the other side. I prefer just the adapter so I can use the cables I already have. Now, if you've got a VGA monitor, well, then you don't have to buy any adapter. Or if your monitor takes DisplayPort, you don't need to buy the adapter. Now, these just came in. I have no idea if I got what I paid for, so let's explore it together. As I mentioned, these are designed to be in business. And I just continue on about how different corporate America is from this nonsense you see on YouTube. That's not nonsense. It's consumer hobbyist enthusiast level stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. And then peppered in, you might see some business stuff. And why I harp on about it is because the business stuff is serious equipment. It is usually built really, really well. It has an exceptional quality control compared to the consumer stuff. And when it's new, it's usually a bit more than the consumer stuff because it's built better. So when I mean built better, I mean the quality of the build itself. It's very little plastic. The face is plastic on here. Everything else is metal. To open it up, it's one screw right here on the back. You unscrew this, no tools required, and you're going to slide the cover forward. So I have to kind of push it away from me here. There it goes. And as you can see, it is separated there. And I'm just going to lift straight up, and that exposes our internals. Now I'm going to bring this up close, and you can really understand what I'm talking about here. Now, somebody has swapped out whatever was in here with a Samsung, Dell or HP. They didn't put Samsung. This looks like a consumer branded Samsung drive. They're usually 128 gig. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you'll get a 256. If you want to add more RAM, this is your CPU cooling fan. Your CPU is under here. I don't recommend getting under here for any reason whatsoever. This will just lift up and out, and there's access to your RAM. No tools required. You're going to slide this back in. If it doesn't slide in correctly, it's because you got it upside down. All right? So it should slide in really easy. There's a little knob, and it's going to slide into this slot right here. And just be aware of where this fan power cable is. You're going to bring that up. There's typically one on both sides here. Here we go. I pointed at the wrong thing. It's not here. It's over here. So we're going to bring that up like this. Slide it in on an angle. This is really hard to do standing up, holding it up. I normally have this on a desk and I'm looking down at it. So bear with me here for a minute. It's a very unusual way to work on this. So that's going to slide in, and then you're just going to push it straight down. That's how easy it is to get to your RAM. Your drive is right here. It's got a single connector that pulls off right here, and then you will push the drive back. It'll slide out, and these 4 screws come out. You can put any 2.5-inch drive in there you want. On the back, we've got DisplayPort, VGA, another DisplayPort, 4 USB 3s, gigabit LAN, and our power connector. Now, I always use the display port on this side. Sometimes this middle one over here or the far right. Sometimes I've seen these swapped out with HDMI. Usually they're not though. If you're lucky, you'll get one with HDMI on it. They're usually on the G3s. Over on the front, we have two more USB type A, USB 3s, and there is a type C, which is impressive for the age of this. And you have your speaker and microphone jacks right there. The power button's a bit recessed. It's right there, right where I'm pointing there. And that's all there is to them. That's it. They're solid. You see it's all metal. Everything's metal except this fan shroud. It's heavy. It's got some real weight to it because, again, they're not selling these over at Best Buy typically. This is something you typically, that's available to corporations being sold or leased by the hundreds at a time. So when they get old and they retire them, they try to recover whatever they can, right? So they got to be securely erased and they've got to make sure that they're working. And typically a company called a PC refurbisher will buy them in bulk by the thousands, hundreds or thousands, and they'll pay their employees to go through them and scour them. That's somebody's job to do all day, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. As many as you could see, the same thing over and over and over and over and over again. Now, even if this came with an OS installed, I would wipe it and reinstall it anyway. The last one I got with an OS installed was the original OS install that was build 1750, whatever it was. Real 5 or 6 year old, real old version of Windows 10, however old it was. I'm not going to do all the updates. Just wipe it and start again using a fresh install of Windows 10. In this case, 22H2. Save you a lot of time and you'll make sure it's done right. But before you do that, before you install Windows 10, you'll want to make sure you have the latest BIOS to make sure that UEFI is enabled, and you want to clear out any BIOS settings. I'm not going to go through all the BIOS settings one by one and see what some Dinkleberry has changed. No, I don't have time for that. I got a bunch of these. We're giving away 20 of these. So I got a bunch of these to do, and I'm doing them all by hand. I'm doing them all by myself. I'm doing fresh installs. I'm not doing clones because that's also a way for me to quality control check them to make sure that they all work and that there's no RAM problems or storage problems or power problems or fan problems. Just use it. That is the best test, is to just use it. So we can put this on or leave it off. It doesn't really matter. Just for access to that power button, it's easier to press with the lid on it. So I'm going to just close the lid back up. I don't see anything in there that's concerning. Everything looks like it matches the specs of what I purchased. This particular unit is a 65 watt unit, so I need to make sure that the power adapter they send me is 65 watts or higher. So if we look on the back of this power adapter, somewhere on the back of it, it should say it's 65 watts or 90 watts. Anything, as long as it's 65 watts or bigger, 90 watts. All right, so that's more than 65, we're good. It's supposed to come with a 65 watt adapter, but they mix and match them at the refurbishers all the time. But if you have a computer that needs 65 watts and you plug in a 35 watt adapter, because they do sell these that run off 35 watts, it won't turn on. The reverse is true though. The 35 watt adapter will turn on with this 90 watt. And the 35 watt adapter is much, much smaller. You can tell just by looking at it. And if you're wondering, how does he know that's 65 watts? Because it tells me right on the bottom. If you look, sorry, it's 35. This is 35 watts. You caught me. So we have way more power than we need, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. You just don't want it the other way around. So if you buy these off eBay, make sure you're getting storage and that it's solid state. Make sure you're getting at least 8 gigs of DDR4 RAM. Make sure what CPU you're getting. I recommend the 6500T i5 or greater. So any number at 6500 or bigger, nothing smaller than that number. And if Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are important to you, they make these with and without Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now, you can add Wi-Fi and Bluetooth with a USB plug, but you're just going to spend more money, right? Even if that USB plug is $15 or $20, you've just raised the price of this by $15 or $20. And if you keep raising the price by adding more RAM and adding more storage, you might as well just go buy one of those new mini PCs, because you'll end up spending less money and you'll get a warranty and you'll get a machine that's Windows 11 compliant. The whole point of this is to bargain shop, to go through all those listings on eBay and find the deals. Now, if because of this video, a bunch of people buy them up and you're not finding them, let it cool down a week, check back on eBay again. Because once the rush wears off, there's thousands of these in the market, thousands. So just pay attention to who your seller is, what sort of feedback they've got and where they're located. And then make sure you're getting the power adapter, the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth if that's important to you, 8 gigs of RAM, a 6500 or greater CPU, and I recommend at least 128 gigs of storage. And this is a great little machine that'll last your average consumer. You can do everything you want on this. It's not a game machine, but I'll tell you what, this can fly for streaming video, Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, email, what most people use their computers for, even in business, all your Microsoft Office applications. That's what it's built to do. It's just that it was built to do it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever it's been. But it's still viable. It's still a very good usable machine until Windows 10 support ends. Okay, let me jump into the chat here before we get started, because I'm going to show you how I go through all this. And I do have links for everything in the video description below the video. And of course, if you have questions, it'll be hard for me to see the chat while I'm doing this, but I'll try to look up from time to time. Martin says these are sold out. Yes, the G2 is sold out, but the G3 is only $5 more. And that's the link I put below. That's why I put 2 links there. And just because they're sold out right now doesn't mean they're not going to get more next week. Gary Tatum says he just bought one for $74.99. Just make sure you're getting 8 gigs of RAM, you're getting a solid state drive. I'm interested if you got that with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and that you're getting the power adapter. Now, these power adapters are about $13. It's not like it's a major expense if it doesn't come with it. All right, let's see. I think we're good. I don't see any questions there. So let's plug it in, and I'll show you what I'm going to do here. Now, I expect there's no operating system on these, and even if there was, I'd be doing everything the same anyway. But I do want to make sure that this power's on. So there's our power. I'm not plugging any network into it because we haven't installed Windows yet. This is my display port to HDMI adapter that I get off Amazon, and I go to the corner with that one. It may work in the middle one, but I've had some mixed, on other models, I've had some mixed luck. It may be just fine, but I'm going to go to the far edge on it. Then I'm going to take my HDMI cable that runs to my capture card, and I'm going to plug that in. And then finally, I need a keyboard and a mouse. And then we can turn it on, and hopefully I get a post screen. If it boots into Windows, that's fine. I don't expect it to. It's going to need a BIOS update, I can tell you right now. And then I'm going to show you how we determine the BIOS update and how we do it, because it's a little tricky on these HPs, but not rocket science. Okay, so I'm all set to go. I'm going to take my main camera, and I'm going to put myself in a corner, just like that. And we're going to turn on the capture card. Right there? Okay, so I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to turn this on. There it goes. I don't see a power light on the front, so it's kind of freaking me out. It didn't boot into Windows. It's giving me some kind of diagnostic. I'm going to go to exit. Yes, I'm sure I want to exit. And now it's trying to boot from the network. Okay, so what that tells me is this drive is wiped completely clean. There's nothing on this drive. But when I first turned it on, did you notice the BIOS version? I'm going to quiz you again to see if you're paying attention. Look at the bottom left of the screen. Bottom left of your screen should give us a BIOS version. Right down there in the corner. Did you see it? I think it said it was it 2.4? I'm going to do it one more time because my screen was too small. I'm going to shut it off, and then I'm going to turn it right back on. I'm going to watch that bottom corner. It appears here for just a moment. 2.39 is what we have. Okay, so now we want to compare that to what the latest BIOS version is. So let me go full screen here on camera 1, and I'm going to show you how we do that. I'm going to turn this off. I need to take the front USB dongle for my keyboard and mouse because I need to take the lid off. So once again, I'm going to unscrew that, slide it forward. Now inside the lid, we've got our serial number here. So what I need to do is I need to open up a website. So bear with me here. I'm going to go over to my browser. And I will share the screen with you. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to type in support.hp.com. Yeah, that's exactly what I want. And then I'm going to scroll down here. It says to identify your product for manuals and specific product information, enter your serial number, product number, or product name. Well, I don't want to enter the product name because there could be, 16 different configuration options of this product number. So what I want to do is enter the serial. So the serial is 2UA705 1GN4. There's no information in these serial numbers that does any hacker any good. So, it's not like I'm exposing any private information here. And that is the HP EliteDesk 835 watt G2 desktop mini PC. And I want to go to drivers and software, which should be in the screen. Oh yeah, software, drivers, and firmware. We're going to click that. What OS? We're going to be Windows 10. You'll see Windows 11 is not supported. Windows 10 64-bit and hit submit. Now in just a second, we'll see all drivers right here. We click on the plus. We see BIOS +1. HP EliteDesk BIOS version, does it tell us? It's got to be greater than 2.39, right? 2.60 is what it says right here, 2.60. We're going to download this. Now, I don't want to download their assistant. You see this fine print? It says, no thanks, I will download and install manually. That's what I want to use. And obviously I'm using a different computer to do this on because this computer I'm working on doesn't work yet. Now, once we have this file, we click on it, click yes, and all this is going to do is extract this file onto your C drive. It won't install anything. It's just extracting the files into this subdirectory right here. I'll click next, and this is our BIOS flash update information. And this is where things get a little technical. In order for us to do this correctly, what I have to do is I have to create a flash, on my flash drive that's blank, I need to create a series of directories which are detailed in here somewhere. I'm skimming through this really quickly because I'm looking for something very specific. There's different ways to update the BIOS. Here it is. Update the BIOS using local media is what we're going to do. It requires we're going to make a directory here called Hewlett-Packard. Within that directory, we're going to make another directory called BIOS. Make sure you pay attention to how it's capitalized. Do it exactly like it shows you. Once you've made the directory called BIOS, go in there and make a directory called new. So let's do that. I am going to open my File Explorer, which you guys, I guess, probably can't see. And I'm going to plug my flash drive. Hold on a second. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Let me go to camera 1. I'm going to take this blank flash drive, which is formatted as FAT16, or it's formatted as FAT or FAT32. If it's NTFS, it probably won't read it. I'm going to take this, I'm going to plug it into the streamer here because this is what I'm using. And it's going to be very difficult for me to share this with you guys because I'm using the streamer. But because the flash drive is blank, I'm just going to create a new directory or a new folder and very carefully type out Hewlett-Packard with a capital H and a capital P. Press enter and press enter. That puts me into that Hewlett-Packard subdirectory. Now I'm going to right click again in that Hewlett-Packard subdirectory, click new folder, and then I'm going to choose BIOS as the name, all capital letters. I'm going to go into BIOS, double click it. Once again, right click, select new folder, and just name that new all lowercase. Now I'm going to push enter and go into that new folder. So it's 3 folders I have to go into. So stupid. Now I'm going to go to my C drive on the streamer, to that file location that we just saved or extracted that, not that we saved it to, we extracted it to C:\/SW setup. And in there is a file called, in this case, SP144, is it 261, 281? Anyway, in there is another folder and it's called HP BIOS up DREC. We're going to double click on that folder. All the contents of that folder we're going to copy by pressing Control A on the keyboard. Then I'm going to right click on the mouse and choose copy. And then I'm going to go to that folder I left on the D drive. And if you've closed it, that's fine. Just go back to your flash drive, which is D in my case. Double click on Hewlett-Packard folder, double click on BIOS folder, double click on new folder, right click in an empty spot in that folder and hit paste. And it's going to copy all of those BIOS update files over for us. That's all we have to do. Now, I really need to do this on another connected machine for you to see all of these steps, because every time I change a window, OBS tries to keep the one window that I'm capturing. And so I have to keep going into OBS and configuring it. And that's a lot of windows, whereas a general screen capture off of another computer would be a lot easier. But I think you guys got the gist of that. So I'm going to close everything out here. And you don't need to safely eject flash drives anymore. Just reach around, pull that out, and we're going to place it into this computer. Now, I don't need this cover off anymore. Like I said, with the cover off, you need something to poke the power button. You can't reach it with your finger. So I'm going to put that back on because it just makes the power button super easy to press with the button on the front of the unit. I need to plug the mouse and keyboard back in. And it doesn't matter which USB port, if you want to use the front or the back, just plug the flash drive that we created in. Now I'm going to bring us back over to the window capture card. So hang in there for a minute. Let's go to the HDMI input. Okay. Now I'm going to turn this on. And I'm going to press F1, F2, I don't know, something should bring up the BIOS. Okay, we're back at this. I'll hit exit. I'll go to yes. And then I'm going to go right down. Oh, I didn't want system information. Whoopsie. That's what I want. I hit escape and now I'm at the main menu. Very last option here. Update system BIOS. Hey, it sees our BIOS. Want to upgrade to 260? See where it says that in blue, bottom left? Just press enter and allow it to run. Just let it go. Don't power it off. Don't mess around with the keyboard or mouse. Leave it alone. This is our first step to refurbishing these computers. Every computer we get is going to need this. I have never, ever seen a refurbisher, ever, no matter how many years I've been doing this, that updates the BIOS. I don't know why. Either they don't care or they don't know. But it's in your benefit to do it. It's free. HP pays people to develop these BIOSes. These are highly skilled, trained, college-educated engineers that do not come cheap. And these BIOS updates are free. That's how important HP thinks they are. This is likely the last BIOS update that will ever be released for this computer. So once you've done it, you'll likely never have to do it for this computer ever again. So it is a little different than a typical motherboard that you see me building, right? It's a little, not so straightforward, but the directions are there on the screen if you take your time and you read them. Now, if we had a working Windows installation, we could install the BIOS through Windows. That's why those instructions are so long. There's multiple ways to accomplish it. This is how I'm choosing to accomplish it. Donald Plastic said, don't have a lightning strike now, right? Actually, here in the desert, I think I've lost power in this location maybe once a year, and we're not in a storm. So I don't think that we're likely going to have a lightning strike. Although that would be a real concern if it were raining outside or if it was stormy outside. Unless you're plugged into a UPS, I would advise you to do this when the weather's nice and you're not expecting a power outage. Because if you get a power outage while this is updating, you could brick the whole thing and it's out of warranty and you broke it. There's no sending it back. You did it. That's why I emphasize leaving it alone. It's an important process. Now, it does turn itself off after the update, and you might freak out. It turned off. It's not turning back on. You have to be patient. It will turn itself back on when the update is ready to continue. Do not interrupt it. If you're the kind of person that can't stand it, leave the room. You see, it just turned itself back on. It was off for quite a while, and it's still not done yet. And that's why it's so important you leave it alone. This is no joke. If you can't do this, then don't do it at all. Maybe have somebody else do it for you. This is critical that it's done properly. Now, this could take quite a few minutes. That's normal, and that's why I say if you're somebody who can't stand to sit there and watch it, leave the room. Go watch TV for a half an hour. This is as patient as this is as patient as a stone. This will wait for years for you to come back. All right, that's how patient it is. So if you need to just give this a couple minutes. Now we've done that and you see it's trying to boot, but it still has no bootable operating system because all we did was update the BIOS. So I am going to turn this back off. I'm going to remove my flash drive. We're done. We never have to use this again. You can erase these files. You'll never need them again. All right, we're going to turn this back on. One more time, I'm going to get back into the BIOS, and I want to reset all the defaults in the BIOS because I don't know what Dinkleberry did in there. Dinkleberry caused me all kinds of problems, so I don't want to mess around with it. Now, if we look at all of these options here, I don't want to go through every BIOS option step by step. It's a complete and utter waste of time. And I've got 20 of these to do, okay? So what I want to do is simply load the BIOS defaults. And for anybody to think that they can outsmart the BIOS defaults, good luck to you. You live with the consequences. Sometimes the consequences are not immediately noticeable, but when they happen, and then you go through all the frustrating and time-consuming troubleshooting of your Windows and your registry and your virus scanning and your hard disk checking and your RAM checking, only to find out eventually that you're the one who made a change in your BIOS because you thought you were making things better until you made a change on the computer. Months later, you totally forgot about that. You think your computer's bad. You think Windows bad. You're the one who's bad. Just load the default. So I'm going to scroll down. I don't know if I'm making that clear enough. BIOS setup is what we want. And then we're going to scroll to apply factory defaults and exit and press enter. Are you sure? Yes or no? Yes. And then it's going to take a minute as it processes your requests, makes those BIOS changes, and once again will attempt to boot and not find anything bootable. That's what it's supposed to do. Now we can grab our Windows 10 installation media, which you can download from Microsoft for free, 100% legal. It's all on the up and up. It's legit. There's no viruses on it. We get a memory size error because we loaded the BIOS defaults. That's normal. Just press enter. That'll clear that out. That is 100% normal. So now we've got our Windows 10. Now, because we've loaded BIOS defaults, if we plug this in and it notices our hard drive is not bootable, but the flash drive is, it boots to the flash drive. So let's try it. I'm going to plug this flash drive right in up front. And I'm going to turn the machine off. And then I'm going to turn the machine back on. And now it should post properly, power on self-test with the HP logo, no memory error. Should not try to boot to the network. It should go ahead and boot to the flash drive on its own based on default values. We'll know if we get that little circle at the bottom. But we'll see if I'm right or not. Ah, there it is. So that means it's loading from the flash drive because there's nothing else for it to load from. This is our traditional Windows 10 screen. I'm going to go ahead and click Next. I'm going to do everything the same way I always do. I'm going to hit Install Now. This takes a minute. This is all very routine. It's very boring for me. So I'm trying to get through it quickly. You have to agree to the end user license agreement. Always choose custom install. You see it does see a 256 gig drive with no allocated space. It's all unallocated. Perfect. That's where we want to install. Hit next. That's it. Now Windows 10 is going to make the partitions it needs, copy over the files it needs, and then reboot and begin the Windows 10 install. It's that easy. We're not going to enter any product key. It's not even going to ask us what version of Windows. Did you notice that? It didn't ask what version because it's embedded in the BIOS. It knows that this is Windows 10 Pro or Windows 10 Home, depending on what's in the BIOS. You can't change that on the install. Now, if you have Windows 10 Home and you want to upgrade it to Windows 10 Home, take the $20 and flush it down the toilet. Because if you do that, you've just wasted $20. There is nothing a home user needs off Windows 10 Pro that Windows 10 Home doesn't also do. Windows 10 Pro is for businesses and business employees who need to log into a domain server or need the Bitlocker client. It is some people think that if you go to Windows 10 Pro from home, and by the way, I think these are Pro, but it won't matter, is what I'm trying to tell you. Some people think they get more features or they get more benefits. You don't. All you're doing is wasting your money if you're a home user. If you use Bitlocker, good luck to you. Good luck. Because when you forget your password or you lose your Bitlocker key, you're done. Your data's gone forever. Forever. No joke. Nobody's getting it back. It's done. So unless it's absolutely required by, FINRA compliance or other business compliance where an IT department is maintaining those keys, I highly recommend home users stay far away from Bitlocker. You will eventually, statistically speaking, you're going to eventually lock yourself out of your computer and nobody will ever be able to get you back in. All your data, well, your drive is fine and your data is fine. It's gone forever because you won't be able to get it back. I don't recommend playing with it. So if you have Windows 10 or Windows 11 Home, you will receive zero benefit to spending money and going through the time and effort to upgrade that to Pro. If you have Windows 10 or 11 Pro and you're a home user, it's not going to hurt you to have it, but it doesn't make any sense for you to upgrade to it. When I install Windows, I always install the Pro version because it costs me $3 more and I just buy one version. I have one inventory SKU. I don't install different versions for different people. Everybody gets the same thing. That makes my support easier. So business users get hurt if you put Windows Home on their business computers, but home users don't get hurt if you put Pro on it. So everybody can have Pro, but home users who have Pro won't use any of the benefits of Pro. So, maybe a couple of, enthusiasts that want to toy around with virtual machines and even then you can still do virtual machines at home. But it's this idea that people are, the people who do that are not representative of a normal, everyday, common computer user. These are enthusiast hobbyists that are getting into the nitty-gritty minutia. And chances are, if you're watching this video, you're not one of those people. So don't let those people who post and make videos about this stuff convince you that's something you need. It absolutely isn't. I never used Bitlocker in my life, and I never want to. I've dealt with some customers who've used it, and it pretty much ties my hands. I can't help them. Once it's locked in, it's done. So yeah, it's never good news. We're going through our installation process right now. You'll see I've never entered a product key. I never entered a version number. This is going to auto-activate. It is not ever going to be Windows 11 compatible. There are some unofficial versions of Windows 11 that skip all the checks, but then you're going to be unsecure online, and your antivirus can't protect you from all these threats. So if you choose to do that, understand your risk, and if something happens and your identity gets stolen, you were warned and you chose to ignore it. I don't want anybody to be a victim because they didn't know. But if you did know and you did it anyway, then I don't feel sorry for you. You did it to yourself. All right, so we're going to go US here. We're going to finish this exactly the same way I always finish my installs. Skip any additional keyboard layout. You notice we are not plugged into the network, and it's not offering us any Wi-Fi, so this must not have a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth built into it. Some of these do, some of these don't. I'm going to click I don't have internet right down there and continue with limited setup, which is like clicking I don't have internet twice because Microsoft doesn't like to take no for an answer. I'm going to create a username of user and press enter, leave the password blank, press enter again. And then I usually turn off everything but location settings so I can get the date and time and find restaurants near me and stuff like that. So I just leave location on. You can adjust all this after the fact. It's not like you can only adjust it right now during the install. So if somebody gets this computer and wants to change that, you just go in the control panel and change it. I'm setting everything up the way my customers request it. Okay, I don't want Cortana. You can if you want to, but it just takes up more resources and I don't want it. Okay, that's it. It's finishing the installation. That's pretty much the gist of it. I need to go to Windows Update. I need to grab all the updates, including drivers. And that's going to require about 2 or 3 reboots of repeating that. Then I uninstall some of the applications I don't like Groove Music and Movies and TV and Mixed Portal, Xbox stuff. I take all that out, but they're really super tiny. There really is no bloatware in Windows 10 or 11. Despite what people say, that's an old term used back in 10 plus years ago. The bloatware really is the Windows updates. People think they're saving space and resources by taking out these little super teeny tiny little applications. They're super tiny. It takes 2 seconds to uninstall each one, maybe 5 seconds. There's like 6 of them I remove. It takes about 40 seconds total. I don't need a piece of software to do that for me. It's a waste of resources to put something on that takes resources to remove things that are taking up your resources. I posit to you that the bloat removal tools are themselves bloat. But what is bloat is all the leftover files when we're done. We're going to have a ton of leftover files. And I have never seen a system integrator, I've never seen a system builder clean them out. So that when you get a new computer that's been built by somebody, including yourself, in most cases, 99% of the time, nobody's cleared out the temp files. When we're done here, we're going to have somewhere around 5 to 8 gigs of temp files, just taking up space in our precious little 256 gig SSD, where space is a premium. So while you're focused, completely distracted on these little super teeny tiny apps in your add remove programs, and you want to, where's my bloatware, anti-bloatware, you're completely missing this massive thing taking up all this wasted space where you're nitpicking over little tiny crumbs. There's a pile of garbage right over here you're completely ignoring. So I'll demonstrate it. Now that we're fully loaded up here, again, we don't need to safely eject. We're done with that. I'm going to plug the internet into it now, and we're going to go to Windows Update. And this is going to take a while because, number one, I don't have a super fast internet connection. And number two, even though this is the latest version of Windows 10, 22H2, it came out back in like October. So there's been a lot of updates every month since then. So the older this video gets, the more updates you're going to have to do, unless Windows 23H2 comes out, because that'll have all the updates that came before it all already in the OS. So now I'm going to go to, let me go to full screen. Full screen. There it is. That doesn't matter. If you want to see your computer on the network and share files, you'll click yes. Again, you can change it later. Click on the Start menu, go to the gear icon, down on the bottom left, Updates and Security, and we're going to click Check for Updates. And this is going to take a while. Also, you might check just to make sure your date and time are correct. If they're a few days off, a couple hours off, it's no big, it'll self-correct. On the other hand, if you're off by a year or more, or many months, Windows Update may not work. So I don't check this date and time unless Windows Update doesn't work. Why should I? I have no reason to. If Windows Update doesn't work, then I'll check the date and time as my first diagnostic. Is this an OEM version of Windows? It's not a retail version of Windows. This is a version of Windows that I have a video that shows you how you can grab it. It's very simple. Go to Google, type in download Windows 10. And one of the first links, if not the very first link, should take you to Microsoft.com. And Microsoft will walk you through the process of downloading an ISO image or creating a bootable flash drive or bootable DVD drive. And all you have to do is download the Media Maker tool and execute it, or just watch my video on how to do that. It's so easy. Microsoft walks you through it, and you know you're getting the official version from Microsoft. Patrick Russo wants to know, question, when you do the updates, does Microsoft put back the programs you deleted like Groove Music or Xbox? No, they do not. You might get that if you're going from 21H2 to 22H2, but just getting the updates off like I'm doing here, no. But do watch for that if one of the updates you're getting is one of those big service packs that they're now calling annual releases. They keep changing the terminology over the years. It could possibly add that or something different. Obviously, your Internet Explorer is going to change, or what do they call it now? They don't call it the Internet Explorer. I don't even use it. I use Google Chrome. But, you know, I don't care. Microsoft keeps changing the name for the same thing. And it's after 30 years of this, over 30 years, it's driving me mad, right? Pick a name. Microsoft can't leave anything alone. So my apologies if it bothers you if I'm using old terminology, but I'm tired and I've got 1,000 different products to remember different versions of. But overall, you will get those updates to, it's bothering me, it's not coming to me right now, of the browser. I'll just leave it at that. And so you might get like a little bar and a Bing icon and stuff like that. But as for like Groove Music and all the stuff I take out, the only time that potentially could come back is one of those massive big updates. Otherwise, no, not through these updates. And so what if it did? So what if it did? They literally take seconds to remove. They're not resource hogs. I just don't want my media played by that. I want my media played by VLC, an open source free tool, which is far more efficient, far better, in my opinion. Is that an ADATA SSD in there? It is not. When I opened the cover in big bold letters across the front, it said Samsung. I don't know how you could have missed it. That's a Samsung SSD. Now, that's not what these came with. Not that Samsung. These did not come with those. So the refurbisher has replaced, somebody's replaced them. I'm assuming the refurbisher has. All right, let's see if I missed any other questions. If I missed your question, please post it now, because I'm just waiting for updates at this point. And what am I going to do? Just sit here and we're going to stare at each other? Ask your questions. Let me be a teacher. Let me teach. Let me know what it is you need to know, or I'm going to blabber on stuff one way or the other. So you could pick what I blabber on about, or I'm going to pick it. Just so we're clear. Oh, there's a little speaker inside of there. I'm hearing sounds going off. That's interesting. Alexander says 30 years, so you're 40 plus? I'm 50 plus. Yeah, I am 54 years old. I've been doing this professionally since 1991. I got my A+ certification in 1995. And prior to 1991, I was messing around with Commodore PETs. TRS-80 Model 1 was my first home computer. Atari 400, Atari 800, 800XL, 1200XL, 130XE. That was, oh, I loved it. Just lived it up. BBS's 1982, 1981, I think, my first computer. And I've never looked back. Every day there's a computer in my life. Yeah, a long, long time. Now, I know I can restart right now, but I still see it's working on updates. So I'm just going to leave it alone and let it keep doing what it's doing. You'll see updates are still going. If I restart right now, it'll have to restart downloading those updates again. And it's just going to take me longer. So it's better to just be patient and wait until it doesn't seem to be progressing anymore. And then I'll restart it. Patrick says, you seem extra hyper. How many Jolt Colas have you had? I haven't had any Jolt Colas. I'm just trying to get something done. And I'm trying to get it done quickly because if I wasn't making this video, there's a good chance it would already be done. I mean, I can't speed up this process, but I could start another one. So this, you have no idea how excruciatingly painful it is for me to slow down to make these videos so I can share my knowledge and my experience, only to be criticized by some people in the chat room who think I don't know what I'm talking about because they don't work as professionals. When people don't work as professionals, they often have advice that lacks any liability or responsibility. It lacks the big picture. And for them, it probably doesn't matter. But it is so wrong for them to challenge me online when they haven't identified who they are and why what they say should matter or be considered. And it's extraordinarily frustrating for me to take time out of my day to try to rush through this because it's going to slow me down, only to have some people in the chat room who've never made a video use a fake name and want to challenge me. I have to tell you, it gets old. So to those people, make your own videos and you show me, okay? If you know so much, let me see your videos, or this channel isn't for you, all right? They're free. The videos are free. Take it or leave it. I've been doing this over 30 years. I don't know everything, but I am held accountable for what I do. You are not. So when I offer advice to people, it's out of the kindness of my heart. I'm not doing it for criticism. I get enough of that from my own brain. I'm pretty hard on myself. I don't need anybody else to jump in and, bang on me. But there is nice ways that you can make suggestions. Certainly, I'm always open to ideas and concepts. What I love about computers, what really drew me is that there's no really one way to get something done. You can do something multiple different ways, and they all get you to your goal. You use your way, and I'll use mine. But when customers are paying me, if I screw up, I have to fix it for free. And if I'm fixing it for free, it's taking my time away from another paying customer. It's costing me money and it's pissing the other customer off. They have to wait longer. So you have to understand my thinking is very different from most of you watching who don't have that amount of pressure on you. Now, these computers are going to be giveaways, but nonetheless, I treat them the same as computers people are paying for. They go through all the same quality control checks. They go through every bit of nitpickiness that I go through for liability reasons, even though there is no liability in these. It's how my brain is wired because I'm in business professionally. I'm not sitting at home as a tinkerer. Do what you want if you're at home as a tinkerer, but please don't advise others without warning them of the possible consequences. But why would you do that? Because you're not held liable. Why do you care? And that's what fuels me to make these videos. It's those people who think they know so much, who have not identified themselves, they have no content, and they want to challenge a known expert in the field, you know, I might look up to you if I knew who you were. But if I don't know who you are, you're just being a pest. So it always gets under my skin because it's uncalled for, unjustified. If you don't like the content, if you don't agree with the content, do us both a favor, go somewhere else. The videos are free, so I really want to have a very kind community here. On the other hand, if you have suggestions and kind recommendations, please say so. But, you know, when you write it, put a little thought into it. Otherwise, you might find yourself banned. So this is what happens when I open the channel up publicly. Sometimes you'll see I restrict access to the chat room because of the harassment, right? It's as though people are paying for something and they're not getting what they paid for. They get all angry. It's like, you didn't pay for it. You don't like it. I don't owe anything to you, except if you're my supporter. Now, if you're my supporter and you've got a bone to pick with me, well, then I know who you are. And then your comments are obviously more important to me. Comments from strangers don't really matter. Even if they're nice comments. Hey, your content's great. Okay, but I still don't know who you are. If some channel, if somebody I admire, some channel bigger than mine, has a nice thing to say about me, I'm going to say thank you, right? I appreciate it. If it's a complete stranger, I mean, sure, I appreciate it, but you know, I could log in as a stranger and leave myself a compliment. I'm just saying, could be my mother. I don't know. So this is what I have to do as a content creator that a lot of people have no idea they want to be a content creator. They don't realize what they're getting themselves into. So let me see. Hello.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Camera girl has arrived. You're late.
Hello.
We've already passed the close-up section of this video.
Sorry. I can redo it.
Well, never let it happen again, or you're fired. All right, let me see. I can't see the screen. It's too small. It's okay. So right now it says it's downloading at 100%, and this will eventually start to install, but I don't have the patience. I'll go ahead and hit restart now and let it process all those updates we just grabbed, and then we're going to re-grab that other one when we come back on the reboot. Okay. Sorry, I have to get that out sometimes. It's my therapy. You guys need to realize, if you don't realize what it is on this side of the camera, and especially the people being critical, I invite the critical people, come join me on camera. I'll step off and you do it. Let's see how you do. That's all I'm saying. Okay, now this is going to take a minute, but you'll see this is a pretty fast computer. Even though it's a 6th generation, it is an i5 and it does have a solid state drive, and 8 gigs of RAM is fine. It's not great, but it's fine when you have the support of an i5 and you're using the computer for normal everyday, what we'll call business use, which is also home computer use. Browsing the web, YouTube, email, Gmail, well, technically that's email, TikTok, Pinterest, I don't know, name a website, it's fine, it's great. It's better than fine, it's fantastic, it's quiet, it's responsive. Now, you want to start doing some gaming on here? I mean, maybe League of Legends, if you lower everything down, maybe some old games, I don't know. It's not really built for that, it's built for business. Victor says, I'm an IT tech, and I recommend you to learn more about Bitlocker. Oh, listen, there's no money in Bitlocker for me. So the problem with Bitlocker is if anybody comes to me with a bit-locked computer and they've lost the password and they have no access, or they, for example, don't have a Microsoft account, or they've lost access to the Microsoft account, they don't have the disk that needs to be made, flash drive that needs to be made to rescue that, there's no way into it. So I'm running a business. I don't think a lot of you get that. If your business involves setting Bitlocker up for people and you want to take that liability on, that's fine. I choose not to. There's no reason anybody needs Bitlocker at home. And if you choose to use it and you lock yourself out, there's nothing I can do to help you. But perhaps you guys that get locked out can reach out to Victor right there, and Victor can unlock your BitLocked computer. I guess that's what he's saying. I can't do it, but apparently Victor can. You guys reach out to Victor, get his email address, and then if you have blocked yourself out, Victor says he can help you. And if he can, and he does, let me know. All right, so I'm going to go over to full screen again, and I'm going to click on Windows Update one more time. Where is it? Icon here, the gear, over to here. And yeah, you know what? I can just type Windows Update too. There's what I love about computers. There's multiple ways to accomplish the same task. So this is how I do things because it relates to how I used to do things, which relates to how I used to do things and goes back 30 years. All right. Those of you just learning, or you've just, compared to me, you don't have as much experience. You don't go back to Windows 3.1 or, Atari DOS or DOS 3.3. It may seem weird to you that I do it that way. So we've taken different routes. Does it make it right or wrong? It's just different. Okay. Troll McTrollington says, I got that type of PC, just the small desktop version of that said HP with an SSD for my cousin-in-law's grandma. My cousin-in-law's. Okay. I can't process that right now because I couldn't stand watching her use a Pentium 4 with Windows 10. I used a Cronus to clone it. Yeah, there you go. Whatever works, man. Roy says, I am not fond of HP. Well, HP is kind of a Jekyll and Hyde. That's really what should be the name of the company, not HP, JH, J&H. Because on the cheap end of consumer products, HP makes some, in my opinion, real junk. But when you get into the business class machines and the laser printers, forget the inkjet and the bubble jet. When you get into the laser jet printers that HP makes, they're still made really, really well. The drivers are a bit bloated, but that's HP. This HP, and especially other business class HPs, are built to a higher standard, and they're generally not sold to the public. That's why you have to get these off eBay. You're not typically going to find these at Amazon or Best Buy. At least not new. I mean, most of the HP laptops I'm seeing from consumers, I would never buy. But I did see one that impressed me, and it was a student that was going to school, and it was after the pandemic had sort of been in force for a few months, and they wanted the students to work remotely, so they gave them these used HP laptops. And when they told me, hey, can you reset this laptop for us? The school gave it to my son. And this was a college. It wasn't like an elementary school. And I was like, oh, here we go. And when I saw it, it had access door for the RAM, access door for the hard drive. Everything was super easy to get to. I was like, wow, this is really nice. What model is this? I've never seen one like this before. Well, that's the business class. So sort of like an airline. You can sit in economy or you can sit in business class. Now, have you ever sat in business class? Because it's a very different experience. You're still on the same plane. And the ticket price is enormously different in most cases. It can be 4 times the ticket price to sit on the same plane. Not first class, business class. Whoopsie. What did I clicked on something over here. Let me go back to Windows Update. I had to make my screen bigger. You'll see there's a hesitation because you don't see what I see. I have a window within a window, so I can see the chat room. When I go full screen, I can actually read the screen the same way you can because you're full screen, presumably. And you can see full screen in the chat. I can get the chat and then a window. I'm thinking about getting a little tablet or something over here just for the chat room. I've been so busy, I haven't had time to even mess with it. And then all the space is so limited. This is a pretty small workbench. When I worked at the corporation where like Intel, when I worked at Intel, I had a desk that was from here. Well, you guys can't see. I had a desk that was probably 50 or 60 feet long. I was in like a long corridor. It wasn't really a corridor. It's not like there was a door at the other end. There was only one door in and out, same door. So when you came in, it was a long, skinny, and there was a bench going all the way down, and I could have multiple things going on at the same time. So if something like this was happening, which by the way, this didn't happen in 1995, but if I was processing something, installing, wasn't much in updating, virus scanning, things that took a while, well, you're paid by the hour, and you've got to measure up to the rest of the IT department with how many computers you're cycling through every day. So you don't get the luxury of sitting around doing one. Well, one is busy doing something, fire up another one. If you're waiting for that one to boot, because we used to wait in those days, fire up the next one. So I might have 4, 5, or 6 during any work day, and my goal was to get them all wrapped up by the end of the day. So again, working as a professional technician, there are pressures on you that result in whether or not you're going to get a raise or lose your job, and that involve that you do the job right, that you treat the customer right, that you do it in a timely manner, and that you're not having to go back and fix it all the time, and you're doing enough of them every day that's in line with what's expected based on however many other people are doing. And by the same token, if you're some hotshot and you're doing 8 a day and everybody else is doing 5 or 6, all your coworkers are going to hate you because you're making them look bad and they want you to slow down. Now, that would be very unusual if you're that good, but if you are, do yourself a favor and do your career a favor and just match what everybody around you is doing, because it won't end well for you if you're too low or you're too high. Generally speaking, there's always exceptions. If you're lucky, you get a manager that sees your talent and wants to promote you, but I can almost guarantee people that you work with are not going to like you when you get promoted and they don't. Okay, so this is finished. We're going to restart. When was the last time I got a raise? I'm self-employed, so if I want to make more money, all I have to do is do more work. It's up to me how much money I make. If I don't make any money, if I have to lose my job, that's my decision or the results of my decisions. If I want to make more money, I can choose more profitable jobs, or I can choose to work 15 or 16 hours a day. That's all on me. Nobody makes that decision for me. And I love that. You have no idea. I love that. Sarge Tech says HP 4000N LaserJet printers are still in use in many offices. Sure. That's why I say the consumer side of HP stuff is just blah. Horrible products, HP. But the business side of stuff is a different story. It's definitely Jekyll and Hyde. All right, finishing our update. Roy says, I was trying to give you a hard time. So stuff like that's really hard to convey, in a chat room. I don't know if you're kidding. I don't know if you're serious. I don't even know who you are, right? A lot of folks that watch me feel like they know me, but it doesn't occur to them, I don't know most of you. So before you act too informal, maybe just take a minute, introduce yourself to me. Maybe give me a chance to get to know you. And then when you want to, tease me and rip me, well, that's something friends do. But for a stranger to do it, if some stranger just walked up to you and started giving you a hard time, how would you react? Like, what's this person's intention? It seems like bullying, right? But if a friend does it, it's friendly ribbing, But it works when both people know each other. All right, no harm, no foul. It's all good. All right, so we're just about done with this reboot. We're going to go back to Windows Update. And if you've noticed, we've not seen any optional updates yet, just that one big one. But we should see driver updates for the chipset and things like that. We have not been offered them yet because they're not ready yet. And one of the things that I do, it's just a configuration preference. I do not like seeing the temperature down on the right. I also don't like these cartoons that appear in the search. So I right-click on the taskbar. I go to News and Interests, and I turn it off. Just check Turn Off. See, that went away down here. Over here, to get rid of this stupid cartoon, I right-click, I go to Search, and I click show search highlights, just unchecks, it goes away. It's super easy, barely an inconvenience. We're gonna go over here. I'm gonna skip that because it annoys me. Hit update again. I'm gonna hit retry. Let's see what it does. Sometimes you get failures on updates. It's perfectly normal. There's reasons that happens that are perfectly legitimate. That doesn't mean anything's broken. As you can see, it's grabbing some other updates and retrying. And then when that framework update is done, we can get this optional quality. Well, I can grab it now. Once we do that, then it says view optional updates right here. Now these are all going to be super teeny tiny little driver updates, but they're really important. Look how many of them we have. We're going to grab them all. Check every box. Because I'm so impatient, the computer is now trying to do too much at once, and when I click on the box, it's not responding. So the best thing, it drives me crazy. So sometimes it's best to just do one thing, let it restart, or walk away from it for a little bit because it's trying to do too much. And now it's not that it's stuck. It's so busy doing the install and downloads of those updates that it doesn't have much resources left for me to click. Like the mouse is moving, but it's not responding and it's not going back. Now, a quick way, if you're like me and you just can't stand to wait, just go to update, restart, or just leave it alone and come back in 10 minutes. And if it hasn't changed, then do that anyway. But it's not gonna hurt one way or the other. It's fine. You just don't want to yank the power out of it. Just do a proper restart. It will finish the updates that it was working on, as you saw right there. And then any that it wasn't working on that I asked it to grab, well, it's going to try and re-grab those again on the reboot. So, you know, it's Windows 10, it's not Windows 11. This is not a Windows 11 compatible computer. I don't recommend you put Windows 11 on it. These are being given away to folks, people in need, military veterans here in the USA. What they do with them is their business. There's no support, no guarantee, no warranty. So if they do something that I advise them not to do and they do it anyway, and it gets them in the weeds, they're going to be on their own to get out of the weeds. I cannot help them. I don't have time. It's enough that I gave them the computer. I find it disrespectful if they don't listen, but you know, respect isn't something that is enforceable. So, you know, do what you want, and then if you're going to make that bed, you can lie in that bed. I'm not joining you. As you can see, it still was downloading in the background, that previous update. Now I should be able to hit view optional updates. And once again, I should be able to, this time, check all those boxes. It even says there's a firmware update. That's interesting. We'll grab all of that. And those are really small. You'll see those are going to download and install. Once it starts downloading them, watch how they're just going to install very quickly. But I don't want to restart it until it finishes downloading that big cumulative update, because otherwise it's just going to prolong this, right? So let's let it finish. And then that should be the end of it, I hope. It's a lot of updates. Now, why do I do this for people? This is a computer I'm giving away. Why do I do this? Because I don't want them to call me because they got a virus or because something isn't working, their printer won't install, their scanner doesn't work, because they didn't know to do the updates. The updates will happen in time. If you leave the computer plugged into the internet and you leave it on, they'll happen overnight. I can't tell you when they'll be done though. I'm trying to avoid problems before they happen. I am trying to be proactive instead of reactive, and that gives me a better reputation as a technician when people never have a problem. So the question is, did they not have a problem because of the steps I took to avoid it, or would they have never had the problem to begin with? We'll never know. But I don't want to take the risk. There is a risk they will have a problem that is greater than, you know, if they don't have the updates. Then if they do have the updates, the risk of having a problem because of the updates not being applied is higher. I don't want to roll those dice with my business. And I consider it good customer service. When somebody gets a computer from me, even if it's a giveaway, I want them to be able to plug it in, turn it on, and start using it. And if there are any updates, it'll just be what happened in the week during shipping. It won't be much. And they will happen automatically, regardless. So that's the logic I use because I'm in business. Nutty says you should get into smartphone repair. No, thank you. No, thank you. It's far too detailed of work. You're going to need basically massive magnifying glass. You're going to need specialty tools. You've got to be very careful not to break the glass. If you break the glass in removing it, you will have to replace it at your expense. And there's too many different models. There's not enough money in it. I will gladly step aside and let somebody else do that menial work. I couldn't be bothered to work on that stuff. It's all really glued together and meant to be disposed of. You're taking something apart that was never intended to be taken apart. You're taking something apart to fix that was never intended to be fixed. And if you enjoy that, have at it. More for you. And I have to tell you, that stuff doesn't get easier when you get older and your hands don't work like they used to, your eyes don't work as good as they used to. Candy doesn't taste as good. I don't know why this isn't, it's downloaded, but it's just sitting here. So again, it will eventually start to install. I've run out of patience, so we're gonna just go ahead and apply those driver updates right now. And then when it reboots and we go back to Windows Update, there shouldn't be any hesitation for that to begin installing. Something is happening in the background that it's waiting to complete before it begins the install. And so by rebooting it, I'm forcing that to happen. Is that actually gonna take me longer than if I'd have just left it alone? We'll never know, but it satisfies me. I didn't see any firmware update happen that I downloaded. It said firmware update. I didn't see it. So I don't know what that was. Once again, back over to settings and back over to updates. And you can see what a tedious process this is, right? But this is a great way to verify that the machine is working like it's supposed to, that the RAM is working, the drive is working. If I simply clone these machines, I wouldn't necessarily know. And so when somebody gets it and they have a problem and they got it for free, who's going to pay for the 50 or 60 bucks to ship it back to me? And then I'm going to have to pay to ship it back again. Now this $100 computer just became a $200 computer, and somebody is inconvenienced when they were looking forward to it. It's just a nightmare. So if I know everything is installed fresh and clean, then that's a good quality control check. And because there's really no moving parts other than the CPU cooling fan, these particular computers are basically bulletproof in such a way that FedEx, UPS, or whoever you're choosing to ship, if you do, a modest amount of bubble wrap and put it in a double-walled cardboard box, they would have to drive a forklift through the middle of it to break this thing. So the odds of it arriving without damage are much, much higher than a traditional desktop with a big, heavy heatsink on it that can break off, or RAM that likes to pop out of their sockets, video cards that pop out. Yeah, I'm just so done with that. It's very difficult to try and diagnose that from 2,000 miles away, and the customer isn't looking at the right thing, so they're not describing what they're seeing properly because they don't know where to look, right? It's not their fault. It's frustrating. And it's probably something very simple, but I can't see it. These pretty much, they're going to arrive 100%, no problem. You're going to plug it in, you're going to use it, it's good to go. They're built like a tank. Nutty says, my eyes cannot see the front panel switches and LED wires to plug the motherboard. Yeah, well, that's why I have these glasses here. These are just magnifiers, right? Readers, cheaters, whatever they want to call them. And every year the prescription gets a little bit stronger. But even if you have good vision, those can be hard to see, especially if your lighting's not very good. And anybody can get a pair of readers from the local drugstore or Walmart for a couple of dollars, and it's just little magnifying glasses you're wearing. It's very helpful, no shame in it. But lighting is a big key to that as well. Barry Klein says, forklift, no joke, I saw a UPS driver deliver a rather large printer that had literally had a forklift tine driven through it. They tried to convince the dealer to accept it. Oh yeah, that's Swiss. That's hilarious. Roy mentions you can take a cell phone picture if you're working on something small. take a picture with your cell phone and then make it larger and you can see it that way. That's also a great tip if you're taking something apart and you want to remember how it goes back together. Pictures are free, and these cameras on these phones are incredible. It's a good tip. Thank you, Roy. Administrator says, having to be subscribed for 1 minute to comment is arbitrary and disliked. Yes, well, that's because of the spam and the bots. And unfortunately, this is what I've had to do to tone that down. And I'm sorry you don't like it. If you have another way that I can keep the spammers and the bots and the harassers discouraged from coming into a live chat room on a free video that you're not entitled to, I would be very interested in what your solution is, because I've been trying to figure this out ever since I've been going live. You know, it just lets anybody in. So I thought, at least if they're going to harass me, I can get a subscription out of it, you know. And that has really been the biggest resolution to the problem. I invite you to create a live video. And if you're lucky enough to attract attention to actually get viewers who participate in your chat room, good luck to you, because the more popular you get, the more people will use your popularity as an advertising platform for their agenda, or to insult you, or to tell you, as a complete stranger who has been invited to your platform for free, to tell you that they don't like your process. That is the thank you you can expect. So if you have a solution that I haven't considered, I'd love to hear it. You know, the alternative is I make these videos all pay, and then the only way you participate is if you pay. That guarantees no harassers and no disrespect to people coming in who feel entitled that they're not getting what they think they deserve when they haven't paid anything for it. So at least if you pay me for it, then I'm more interested in your complaint. This just may not be a channel for you. Sometimes people don't realize I didn't make this video for you. So I'm sorry you thought that. I don't know why you did. You're welcome in as a guest, but I would expect you to behave as a guest. Telling me you don't like it isn't necessarily disrespectful, but it does seem that there's a lack of understanding of why that is that way. That has nothing to do with you, I hope. I hope it has nothing to do with you. Yeah, that's the reality of being on the internet live. I would love a better solution than charging people. I just tell it as it is, man. I got nothing to hide. I'm not trying to take advantage of anybody. I'm just tired of being a public punching bag from people who got no beef with me. You know, I don't know who these people are. They come in, they start harassing, they start spamming. They got nothing else better to do. They laugh, they think it's funny. They're interrupting and they're disruptive. And I didn't do anything to them other than offer them an invitation to come in. So now that invitation needs to be restricted. Subscription for 1 minute puts you out. Don't come in. We've been here since 2008 without you. We'll be here tomorrow without you. We'd love to have you if you're a nice, considerate person. But if you're not, then you're not right for this community. And that's okay. There's another community out there for you. But we do hope that we bring out the best of the folks online that are kind and considerate and understand the challenges of what it is to be a creator. And all you have to do is be kind and supportive. That's all. And you know, hitting that subscribe button costs you nothing, and it's a nice way to show support in exchange for absolutely free content. I have over 30 years of experience that I voluntarily choose to share. I don't have to. I could switch this off and never make another video again. My paid supporters, I can't thank them enough, because these videos, they cost hundreds of dollars to make. This computer that sits in front of you was $100 plus shipping and tax. And I've got 20 of them. That's $2,000. It's about $2,200 after sales tax. And then when I ship them, they're going to viewers for free. So that's going to cost me about $50 times 20. You're looking at another $1,000. Where's that money coming from? It ain't coming from YouTube. So it's because of the wonderful community that we have here that we're trying to protect it. We're trying to keep people who are good people from being harassed by people that have no investment here. So that's why it is that way. I understand if you don't get it. I totally understand. You're accustomed to the brainwashing of the infomercials you see on YouTube. You're not accustomed to something honest that's not trying to sell you something. So I get it. It's very common. SM9 said, I wouldn't waste your breath on these trolls. Well, I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. You know, they just don't understand. Like I said, they're so used to watching paid commercials by the big tech channels that when they get real content, they don't get it. And that's okay. Just leave. You know what I mean? Hey, this isn't trying to sell me something. This isn't, you know, a big advertisement from one of the big tech companies paying me to say what they want me to say and making it look like a review. This is real. So, you know, we're living in a weird time where people can't tell the difference anymore. And I want to give them an opportunity to consider what I've said and change their attitude or leave. That's all. That's all I'm trying to do. Because the consequence of it, you know, if it continues, is just make it pay only. Just put a paywall up and be done with it. Because I have to tell you, when I do my members only videos, it's so much more enjoyable for me. So much more. And those people never see the content. All that paid content is never available to them, nor will it ever be. So they don't know what they're missing. They don't know what they're not getting. And I'm okay with it. Because when I do that, and I have, you know, obviously much smaller of an audience, I can pay more attention to each person in the audience more. It's more intimate, and it's more rewarding for me to, you know, see the positivity and see the support and, you know that people appreciate what I'm doing. They get it. And for the people who don't get it, you know, that's okay. Just, I don't need to. I give them an opportunity. Give them a fair chance. Because that's what I would want. You know, give them the benefit of the doubt. Not many people do that anymore. So quick to demonize. And so if you're regular here, you'll see me do that a lot because I'm assuming I'm dealing with new people, you know, upwards of 10,000 new viewers every day. Not necessarily on a live video, but over the week after it airs, yes. And so they may not know, what is this? This is different. And their initial reaction might be, different is bad, I don't like it. And if they understand why it's different, well, they may hate it more, or they might, and I hope, they might appreciate just how rare it is and realize what they just found and want to subscribe to it. But, you know, it's what I hope. It's a big world, 8 billion people on the planet. If I can get a fraction, if I can get 1% of 1% of 1%, I'll be doing really, really well. Nev Wells says, I love the ethos of your channel, so fair to all who want to be educated in a friendly place. And I am trying to keep it free. I'm trying. People do make it hard, and that's why I'm experimenting with the members only. And thank goodness for those members, because I'm making twice the amount of content now because of the memberships. I wouldn't be able to, you know, unless I was just a talking head, it wouldn't cost me anything. As long as I have to keep buying equipment to make videos, and every video is a new piece of equipment, it adds up. And what most of the big tech channels do is they take sponsorships. They get scripts and they're told what to say. And there's nothing wrong with it if that's what they want to do, but that's the difference between, you know, being a media personality and being a real tech. So I'm not as smooth and as polished as somebody who's, you know, a media personality. It's not what I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be a real technician sharing with you on-the-job experience. And if you value it or you don't value it, that's up to you. I get paid the same. So it doesn't matter to me. All right, I think we're all done with our updates, okay? So anything I do now is pretty quick. I will check one more time, but I am pretty sure our updates are done. I'm gonna check one more time. I expect this is gonna come up, no more updates, hallelujah. Let's see, pretty sure, feeling confident. And, you know, I don't have to sit and wait for this. Oh, there it is, it's already done. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I do not like, my customers do not like all these tiles. I right-click on each one and choose Unpin from Start. One by one we go. Right-click, unpin, right-click, unpin, right-click, unpin. Almost done. It's very quick. It's very fast. All done. Okay. Now, this email icon sometimes doesn't work with other email services, and people use it, and you can't reply to people who use it, who use other email services. So I unpin that so they don't see it, and I unpin the Microsoft Store. These are available elsewhere. My customers want it kind of looking like Windows 7 or Windows XP. I'm going to go back in the control panel. I'm going to take out the applications my customers universally do not want. That's going to be Groove Music. They don't want that. I don't need to wait. I can move to the next one. We don't want Mixed Reality Portal. We don't want Movies and TV. See how little these are? These really aren't taking up. This is kilobytes, 8 kilobytes. It's super tiny. This is a Office sales thing. We don't, that's not the real Office. That's where they're trying to get you to buy it. So we take that out. We don't want Skype. If somebody wants Skype, they can go to Skype and download Skype. It's free. We don't want this Xbox thing over here. We uninstall it. The Xbox Game Bar you cannot uninstall, but Xbox Live we can uninstall. Look how fast those came out. That is not bloatware. Okay? We're not really freeing up any resources. Well, we are, but they're so tiny little crumbs. Who cares? It's just really getting rid of the annoyances or the potential support calls. Any of those can be added back by just going to Apps and Features. Where's it at? Default apps? No, it's in here. And you can add it back, optional features. There's a place where you can add these things back if you want them. I don't care. Nobody's ever called and asked me how to get those back. Google it. It's super easy, I guarantee it. I just don't do it, so I don't know it off the top of my head, nor do I care. Okay, so I've cleaned all that out. And I have VLC to install. So I have a utilities flash drive, and I pull two things off of here. One is I want to install VLC. So I'm going to take the copy of VLC so I don't have to download it every time. And I can install that right off the flash drive. I don't actually have to copy it over. It's pretty small and only takes a minute to install. And while that's installing, I come back over to the flash drive and I'm going to grab Uncle Carey's Windows 10 Optimizer. Now this is just making a bunch of tweaks and stuff to the registry and settings that optimize Windows 10. It's not compatible with Windows 11. It doesn't hurt anything if you run it on Windows 11, but I'm not sure it's really helping anything. Each little individual tweak doesn't do much, but when they're all added up together, they can make quite a difference. So you see what VLC installed, we're done. I'm done with the flash drive. I just pull it out. You don't have to safely remove it. I'm going to go back to Uncle Carey's. It automatically, click yes. It's going to automatically see what settings are recommended to change. And I just leave it at those defaults. It's my app. You can buy it if you want to buy it. It supports the channel, and you can use it on as many computers as you want. If you copy it and give it to your friends, I'm not going to stop you, but it kind of undermines me. I mean, I'm not getting rich off of it. It's really nice of you to use it on a friend's computer, but not to give it to your friend. But if you did, I'll never know. All right, so you do what you want. Let your conscience live with that. We're going to go ahead and reboot. That's how quick those changes are. You'll see it said a lot of stuff was access denied. That's turning off drive indexing. That's going to free up some hard drive space because indexing isn't anything most people use, and it does eat up some hard drive space. When we boot back up now, it's time for cleanup. This is the part like no one ever does. Probably most of you, unless you're regulars here, have never done this on your own computer. So you probably have a big pile of trash taking up precious space on your hard drive in the gigs, and you're not aware of it. So a couple of things we do. One, I go to storage settings. And when I'm in storage settings, I go to configure storage settings. Now you see that's already been turned on because that's part of what Uncle Carey's Windows 10 app does. If I try to run Uncle Carey's Windows 10 app again, it checks the settings and says, you're already fully optimized. It's that intelligent of a little app. And I can always go up here and check for updates just to make sure there's no further updates to it. That's all part of the build, okay? And you notice I don't run that from the flash drive. It needs to be run from the desktop or it doesn't run consistently. I just copy it to the desktop. All right, configure or run storage settings. Now I run it every month. Delete temporary files that we aren't using. Delete any files in my recycle bin that are older than 30 days. Delete any files in my downloads folder if they haven't been opened for more than however many days. I leave that exactly as you see it. You can adjust it how you want it. And I hit the clean button, clean now button. Now it's not really telling us how much space it's freeing up, but, and this will probably be shocking to you, this leaves a lot of trash behind. See how fast it was? We've got way more than that it's ignoring. I do not recommend any system utilities, CCleaner, none of that. They're just useless now. If you're still running Windows XP, have at it. Now I'm going to just go over here and type disk clean. There it is, disk cleanup. And I'm going to click clean up system files. And then that's going to calculate the junk. Wait till you see how much junk is on this hard drive. I'm going to click on the first thing and I'm going to hit the space bar in a down arrow, space bar, down, 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 space, down, space, down, space, down, down, space. I'm just hitting the space bar to check the boxes. I want all the boxes checked. Even after we ran Storage Sense, we have over 4 gigs of useless files. Click OK and delete. This could take a few minutes, but that just gave us back 4 gigs of precious hard drive real estate that wasn't available to us until now. Also, Uncle Carey's Windows 10 Optimizer will disable the hibernation file. Your hibernation file is hidden on your C drive that is the size of the amount of RAM you have. You've got 128 gigs of RAM, then you have a 128 gig hibernation file. 16 gigs of RAM, you have a 16 gig hibernation file. If your solid state drive space is as precious to you as it is to me, hibernation shouldn't be used on desktops. It's to save battery life. If you're not running on a battery, there's no reason to have the hibernation file on. I recommend people leave their desktops on, just like you leave your refrigerator on and you leave your cell phone on. Leave it on. You can turn your monitor off. The people who leave their computers on 24/7 are the ones who have the least amount of problems. I can tell you that definitively. The other reason I ask people to leave their computers on if they're my clients is so I can remote in after business hours to do the work without interrupting their daily activities. And that includes updating their virus scanner, updating Windows updates, doing backups. I do all that after hours remotely. They must leave their computers on for that, but they can turn their monitor off. And we very rarely have problems. Usually the people that have the problems are the people that turn the computer on first thing the next day. And then that's when I get the call. Think about it. The last time you had a computer problem, a serious one, was when you were turning the computer on. So this doesn't avoid all computer problems. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying, please. This reduces the likelihood severely. Now, if you live in an area where there's a lot of storms and power outages, obviously you don't want to do that. But for us here in Phoenix, we just leave them on. And you see, this is going to take a while. And that's pretty much it. Lock, stock, and 2 smoking barrels. That is all of it from the way it was sent to me, updating the BIOS, installing Windows 10, updating Windows 10, optimizing Windows 10, and then cleaning all the leftover detritus so we get that space back. That's all there is. Now, it just occurs to me, because this is a Samsung drive, we could put the Samsung Magician software on it. I'm not going to, but in theory, that should be okay. And we could check for a firmware update on the drive, but that's unique to Samsung. It's not, these normally don't have these kind of drives in there. And you know, if you want to stick around, I can run it and see what happens, but I want to wait till this is done first. Now, before we're done with that, is there any questions, concerns you guys have that I can answer? I'm happy to do my best to provide an answer. I don't know everything, but you know, if I know it, I've got experience at it, I absolutely want to share it with you. Oh, and I also want to show you that Windows has automatically activated itself, even though we never entered a product key, because on these system integrator builds, they're in the BIOS. All the key information's in the BIOS. So if I right click and go to properties on the My Computer icon, which is added because of the optimizer tool, I type the word, what's all the beeping?
I don't know.
Activation, see if Windows is activated. Whoops. One click is all I needed. Windows 10 Pro, Remember, I wasn't sure if it was Pro or Home. It is Pro, as I suspected it would be on a business class machine. And Windows is activated with the digital license, even though we never entered a product key, nor were we asked to, and nor did we click any activation buttons. It happens automatically. This is not Windows 7 anymore, or Windows 8 or Windows Vista. This is Windows 10. And we're still running there. All right, let me see what all the beeping is about. Maybe the kitties have come around. We have some feral cats. Did I not put my phone on Do Not Disturb? There are motion alerts around the building, and so if the motion alerts go off, you're going to hear that phone beep. And that usually means Amazon or UPS or FedEx is dropping off a package. But every time that beeps, there's a motion alert happening. Backyard, front door, yeah, in case you were curious. All right, that finally finished. So I'm going to grab my utilities disk where I have the Samsung Magician, because it can be a bit of a slow download for me to grab. You know, USB Type A can only be installed one of two ways, and yet it always seems to take 3 tries. I don't understand that. All right, we're going to go back over to full screen for me. Samsung Magician. Again, I don't have to copy it. I can just install it. Not all Samsung solid-state drives are compatible. So just because it's a Samsung drive doesn't mean the Samsung Magician software is compatible, but there's one way to find out. You can research it for 20 minutes, or you can just install the software, and if it doesn't recognize your drive, you can uninstall the software. So, you know, choose your poison, but I personally prefer real-world responses to simulations and research because lives are not at stake, and I'm in a hurry. And if I thought for a minute it wasn't going to work, I wouldn't waste my time. I suspect this is going to work. If I'm wrong, I'm going to go back in the control panel and I'm going to uninstall it. And it'll take less time for me to do that, likely than it will for me to Google the model of the drive, figure out what model of drive I have, Google and look up which Samsung Magician drives are compatible. I don't have time for that. I just can't be bothered, man. I am dealing on such a massive scale. It's not like I just have this one computer. I have to keep re-emphasizing that to my viewers because I think they keep forgetting. What's the big deal? The big deal is I got 19 more of these to do. And that's not my only work, okay? I've got other things waiting. These are just giveaways. All right, so in just a minute, we'll have our answer. And it didn't require really any effort. That's the other thing I'm a big fan of. Let the machine do the work. Work smarter, not harder. That's what I'm saying. Let's see what happens here. Samsung Magician software comes up. It identifies the drive as a Samsung 860 EVO. There is an update. Look at here, update. Samsung firmware update. Oh, well, this was totally worth doing, and that means I got to do this for every one of these. The update is super easy. There's no worry. They'll say you should back up your data. Well, you should have your data backed up regardless, but I've never lost data as a result. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. Your computer will shut down after updating firmware in 20 seconds. Please save all of your work. Yeah, you don't want to be in the middle of something when you do this, right? All your apps need to be closed. Do you want to continue? Yes, I do. This is fast. The reason it has to shut off is when it puts new firmware on the drive, your BIOS and Windows think it's a completely different drive. They're not the brightest, okay? So it's like, it'd be like if I said to you, my name is Greg, even though you know my name is Carey. If I just turned around and said, okay, I've got a different shirt on, my name is Greg. That's how Windows and BIOSes identify drives, is through the firmware. If you change the firmware, it has no idea who you are. So you may see Windows pop up, and sometimes you'll see it says new drive detected. It will not affect your Windows activation. That's affected by your motherboard. Your Windows activation is tied to your motherboard. So when this machine is now powered off, it will not turn back on. It has to completely shut off as though you've pulled the drive out, put a different drive in. When you turn it on, oh, I guess I don't need that anymore. When you turn the computer back on, the BIOS goes, oh, there's this new drive. Doesn't make a big deal about it. It's silent. Windows will come up. It shouldn't make a big deal about it. These firmware updates, again, they're important. They add to the longevity of the drive, the performance of the drive, and they're free, even though they cost Samsung a great amount of money to pay the developers and to pay for the distribution. You know, internet connections aren't free, and the bandwidth costs money. So it must be important if they're giving it away. As you can see, we didn't lose any data, nothing bad happened. In just a second, the Samsung Magician software will load. It sort of delays. There it is right there. Double click again. And now there's no update. Everything is happy. We can see there's 14.1 terabytes written on this drive. This drive's still a puppy. It's got a lot of life left in it. If a drive is used, if a solid state drive is used so much that there's no more room left to write, it doesn't make the drive broken. I think that's a big misconception on the internet. So people are worried about, oh, am I writing to my drive unnecessarily? Probably not. Most of these drives under regular use, 30, 40 gigs a day, about 70 years before you wear them out. Likely the controller will die or something else will happen that will kill it long before the write cycles wear out. If you ever run into a drive where the write cycles have worn out, the drive works perfectly fine, but it won't let you write anything to it anymore. It becomes read-only. If you ever see one of those, ever in your life, I will pay you for it. I will buy it from you. I've been in this business, I've been installing solid-state drives since 2013. I've never seen one that was written to the point where it won't write anymore, ever in my life. I would love to see one, because the way people talk about it on the internet, oh my gosh, you better be careful. From what? From something that's never happened? It's crazy. So again, I have the perspective different from the enthusiast. I'm practical, reliable, I'm out in the field, I deal with customers, I deal with businesses, I deal with residential customers. I get a little taste of all of it. Nobody has ever, under any circumstance, written so much to any size solid-state drive that it became read-only. It doesn't make the drive not work anymore. The drive will still load everything and all your data is still on it. So it's nothing to freak out about. Worst case scenario, you buy a new drive and you can clone your old one over, and maybe your new one will be 10 times bigger and 10 times faster, and it'll be worth the upgrade. Because it'll be years before anybody does that. Okay. We're done. Phew. How many hours was this? Hey, I'm under 2 hours. I'm only an hour and 48. Thank you very much. See, I got through it quick. This could have been a 4-hour video. Any questions? Any nasty comments anybody wants to leave before I go? Why not? Open the door to the trolls.
I could do something nasty. I could go punch you.
Take a number. SM90 says, if you've got so many PCs to work on, you should write a script. I don't have time to write a script. And all the PCs a couple of them are the same, but I can't tell you which ones are the same and which ones are different without getting into all the nitty gritty of all the details. Like these have Samsung drives. Some of them have Wi-Fi, some of them don't. If I were gonna do, 20 a day, then a script would be worth my investment of time. But every time there's a Windows update, it has to be added to the script. I'll spend more time on the script than I'll get any work done. So if I'm getting paid by the hour and the employee wants to, or the employer wants to pay me to write a script for them, I can write scripts. But for what I'm doing, they're all mostly one-offs and they need to be quality controlled. So I'm quality control checking the RAM and storage, the internet, I'm checking that by doing this to each one manually. That's why you don't see scripts. If I were working at a big system integrator and we're rolling out 90 of these a day, you've got to have a script and you've got to get through them. I'm not that big. Doesn't justify the amount of time it takes to write the script. I used to do that. You should have seen some of my scripts. You could script search me. Just saying, they're out there somewhere in the cloud. If you ever need to install Windows XP, those were the days. Ron says hello.
Hi, Ron.
Concordius Technology says people today spend so much time and energy on what if they don't enjoy the life of now. Well, there's just a lot of anxiety and technochondria online. People worry about heat issues that never happen. They spend money they don't need to spend to solve problems they've never had. And because they don't have the problem after they spend the money, they think they avoided having the problem. So it's a vicious circle that sort of encourages them to continue that behavior. I don't get paid for that. Nobody calls me to fix a no problem. Nobody calls me and says, hey, I think my computer's running a little hot. Well, actually they do. If you touch the computer and it feels unusually warm, I've gotten those calls like 3 times in the last 12 or 15 years. And it was because in almost all cases, we had the power supplies mounted at the top of the tower and the fan stopped spinning in the power supply and the top of the tower got really, really warm. Had nothing to do with thermal paste or CPUs. So, you know, people obsess about heat, about their CPU, but they don't talk about their power supply's temperature. You know, a power supply, it has a big fan on the bottom and it sucks air. This fan inhales air and it goes in the power supply and it goes out. It never enters your computer and you never know how hot it is. There's no temperature monitoring your power supply. And it's one of the most critical pieces of your computer that is the most likely to cause catastrophic failure if this fan goes out or if you've got it on the floor or on a table and it can't breathe. That is a real problem. But because there's no software to monitor it and get upset, you have no idea how many power supplies are killed annually through the needless neglect and abuse. I'm for people for the ethical treatment of power supplies. They're ignored. They're totally ignored. Oh, my airflow. Oh, I have positive air pressure. I have negative air pressure. What about your power supply? Let me ask you something. I'm going to come up close. What about your power supply? How's its airflow? Have you checked the filter on the bottom? I bet you haven't. It's probably all clogged. This thing's wheezing like it's got asthma, and you're just looking at CPU temps. I should use Arctic Silver. Oh, I need to buy some $80 thermal compound so I can get 1.5 C cooler on my CPU temps. You're nuts. That's crazy. In the meantime, your power supply is going, and you're oblivious to it. You being, you know, the general population online obsessed with heat is ignoring the heat of the power supply and the airflow of the power supply. You rarely see anybody talk about this. Why? Why is it these group of people all gather about things that don't matter and completely ignore the stuff that truly does matter and does make a difference? Like me showing you how to clean those temp files. I haven't even installed anything on here, really. And I had almost 5 gigs worth of junk on a brand new install. You buy a brand new computer. I challenge any of you, buy it from anywhere. Plug it in, and before you do any updates, run that disk cleanup. And I bet you'll have multiple gigs of junk from the factory. That's how they gave it to you, because they don't know or they don't care. And that's your space you paid for.
Stay away from the caffeine.
There's no caffeine in this.
I know.
This is 100% rage. Pure and natural. I just don't get it. It's like so obvious to me. I'm like, how is it everybody's like facing this way going, oh, look at the bird. And there's like a meteor right over here that's about to crash into the earth. And they're like, oh, I think that bird's gonna crap on my car. It's really, really upsetting me. And there's this meteor and they're not even looking at it that could kill them. And they're worried about some minor little thing that doesn't matter. And it has all their attention. And they're telling your friend, come over here, come look at this bird. And there's like 40 people have gathered going, oh yeah, there's that bird that's crapping on my car. We should do something. And this meteor is just getting closer and closer, and they're just blissfully ignorant about it. Where's my Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy Don't Panic glasses?
How do you really feel?
Well, now that you've asked, I'm confused. I don't understand why people aren't more independent thinking. I don't understand why people don't question why or what motive other people have. Why is this person making a video? What's in it for them? Why are they making this review? Did they get paid for it? Why do they focus on heat issues that never are a problem, very rarely are a problem in the real world, except maybe to sell thermal compound? Why are they focused on the particular products they're focused on when they have millions of subscribers? Why do they do that? Is it to get the views? Is it because they truly think they're being helpful, or are they cashing a check? I don't know. That's what goes through my mind, but I'm a teenager in the 80s, and I was grown up to question things. That's how I was raised. Verify. You don't have to be paranoid. Be skeptical. And verify things for yourself. Don't take anybody else's word for it unless you really know them and trust them. If it's some stranger online, when Fry's Electronics was here, I'm shopping for routers, and I'm in the, they have an aisle of wireless routers. And this customer is talking to another customer because, God forbid you found a Fry's Electronics employee anywhere within sight. And they're helping each other. The guy says, which router should I buy? The guy says, oh, that's a good one. Oh, it is? Oh, yeah, you definitely want that one. Oh, I was told to buy this one. Oh, no, I wouldn't buy that one. I would buy this one. Oh, okay. And they take the one they had in their hand, the one they were told to buy, they put it back. And the word from a complete stranger who knows nothing about them or why they're buying the router or what the conditions are, they follow the stranger's advice and they buy it. Then they have trouble getting it to work when they get home. Ring, ring. Hello? Hi, Carey. I got the router and it's not working like you said it would. Oh, you got the Netgear blah, blah, blah? No, I got a Linksys blah, blah, blah. Well, I didn't tell you to buy a Linksys. No, but this guy that was there at the store said it was better than the one you recommended. Well, then why don't you call the guy at the store and ask him how to fix it? Well, that's kind of nasty. Is it? I mean, if you're calling me and asking me for my advice, and I'm giving it to you and you're not taking it, and as a result of not taking it, you're calling me and asking me for my advice, this is a ride I'd like to get off. It's just going around in circles. We're both wasting our time. Well, that's rude. No, what's rude is calling and asking me for my advice and then not taking it. Why don't you call the person whose advice you took? Well, I don't know who they are. That's why you shouldn't have taken their advice. So if you want to take their advice, say, hey, let me get your name and number. So if I have any problems with this, I can call you. And see if you get their name and number. Now, if they do, go ahead and buy it. And if they don't, that's all you need to know about the value of that advice. That's a true story. It's not just happened once. I might have a little PTSD from it. Just a scotch. It's a little bit. It's really disrespectful. It's a waste of my time. I got other things to do. Look, if you want, I'll fix it for you. I'll charge you $125 plus the cost of the router. I'll come over to your place. I'll do the work. I'll hook it up. Or you can go buy the router at whatever it sells for, so there's no markup for me, and you can hook it up yourself, so there's no labor for me, and then you turn around and don't buy what I told you to buy, and it doesn't work, and you think I'm going to help you for free? You're out of your tree. Man, I got stuff to do. That's all I'm saying. I want to help people who want to be helped. I don't want to help people who essentially want me to do it for them, but they want me to do it for free, because that's essentially what that's a very passive aggressive way of getting somebody to do something for you. And I don't have time. It's very disrespectful to me. And it's like, obviously, any further discussion with this person is just going to lead to more of them not listening until I get so frustrated, I go over there and do it myself. And they're going to say, well, I didn't hire you. You did that on your own, out of frustration. I don't have to pay you for that. No, I've been taken advantage of, and it happened because I allowed it. And it happened so many times that, you know, I'm a little sensitive. If I get is that somebody taking advantage? I get a whiff. No. But what I do like, I'll tell you what I do like, is when somebody says, hey, what should I do about this? And I go, hey, you can pay me and I can do this, and I do this all the time because I'm a terrible businessman, you can go to the store, buy this specific part, follow the instructions, it's super easy, and if it doesn't solve your problem, call me. And when they do that, 9 times out of 10, probably 99 times out of 100, if they call me, it's to say, thank you, it worked beautiful. And I made $0.00, but it didn't really cost me anything, and I established goodwill, and I hope they will think of me when they have a real problem I can help them with, and that they will refer me to people. I don't have any advertising. Everything is word of mouth, and everything, even my YouTube channel, is all grown organically through my reputation. So I'm very protective of it. It's all I have. If I don't do this, I don't have a job. So if you wonder why everything is so serious, my life, the quality of my life, my ability to pay my bills rests on it. And once it's soured, it's very difficult to get it back. To re-earn people's trust is almost impossible. If Microsoft could have re-earned people's trust, we'd still be on Windows Vista. But it requires a marketing change, because once you've soured the public on a brand, there's nothing more that can be done. Most of the time, it's unrecoverable. So I think Elon Musk said that running a business, you're just going day to day trying to keep it alive. Every day it can die. When you're an employee and you're working for an employer, you don't have that problem. You have a fixed salary. You might have medical and vacation, benefits. But you can also be laid off at any given time. Someone else decides how much you're worth. They tell you how to dress, what time to be here, what time to go home. I don't like that. So there's a trade, which I'm okay with. But I have to protect it because it affects nobody but me. If I allow somebody to damage my brand, I'm the one who'll pay, and I will pay indefinitely. So yeah, it's pretty serious, given I don't have multiple talents in this regard. I'm not going to switch careers and suddenly I'm a roofer. I don't think. I mean, I could.
You're a squirrel.
I could totally do it.
You're totally a squirrel.
Just trying to connect with people,
Chasing
man.
your nuts.
Elko says, breathe, Carey, breathe. I think I'm turning red. Am I red? Yeah, getting worked up. Blood pressure's up. Having a stroke live on camera.
No. Squirrel. Calm squirrel.
Now, tomorrow's show, we've got the 13900 KS. This bad boy right here is worth about 8 or 9 of those little computers right there. Just this one part. This is the fastest chip you can buy from Intel on the consumer side of things. 6,000 megahertz. 6 gigahertz is what we say. 6,000 megahertz sounds bigger. It's in there. Little chip. Needs a motherboard, needs RAM, needs a case, needs power supply, needs storage. We're going to be spending a lot of money.
Beautiful thumbnail.
Yes, Camera Girl made the thumbnail that we're going to use, which is, she didn't make today's thumbnail. I just grabbed that. But most of the thumbnails you see that look artfully done are not done by me. So credit to Camera Girl for her talents in Photoshop.
No, Canva.
Canva. A lot of YouTube content creators use Canva.
Yeah, it works good.
I can't be bothered. I sit around I'm a perfectionist. I will play with a thumbnail for 17 hours. Just move that a smidge to the right. She knows because I'll tell her, can you flip this the other way? Can you move that to the other corner? Can you change the background color? And she smiles and says, can do. Mostly. Are we 2 hours yet? Oh, we're a little over 2 hours. Final questions. I'm going to give you a chance. Are you brave enough to ask me a question? I'm really nice.
I highly suggest you don't.
I want them to ask questions, though, as long as it's not something I just said. That's just really annoying. Here's how you do this. Hey, how do you do that? Why don't you rewind the video when I just explained? That's the kind of question I don't like. But other than that, I appreciate people that ask sincere questions and want to learn. SM90 says, my OCD pushed that CPU off the edge. It looks like it could easily fall off. Well, here's the thing. This could fall off and it wouldn't hurt it. I could throw this across the room. It's not going to hurt it. Let me show you something. Do you see the way that this is packed? It's almost packed like a hard drive. It's got this plastic here, and then it's got this case. And the CPU is about this big, and it's inside. And in the case, it's protected in the case, and the case is protected in the package. And then the package is protected, of course, by itself to withstand the rigors of shipping and distribution. So this can fall. I could throw this off the roof. It is not at all going to cause it any harm. So if it did fall, and it won't, but if it did, it honestly won't change anything. There's no moving parts in here. So there's really nothing to damage. It's okay. This stuff isn't made of, it is made of silicon, but it's not made of glass. What is the speed of a swallow? A European or an African swallow? An African swallow flaps its wings how many times per second?
I don't remember the answer.
Elko says, in my humble opinion, a 13900 is overrated, 90% of the performance for 100% of the price. No, I'm with you. I totally agree. But that'll probably get me more views. So what are you going to do? Patrick wants to know, what is the meaning of life? We all know that's 42. You should have phrased your question more specifically. Jim says, it's not a matter of where he grips it. Joshua wants to know if I've ever seen a hummingbird at rest. Yeah, actually. We have a hummingbird feeder out back, and they'll sit on it and just sit there. There's videos here on YouTube, and I'm sure they meant that as a joke, question. But if you look on YouTube, there are people that have stood really still, and they have little hummingbird feeders on there. You can buy little hummingbird feeders on Amazon that fit on your fingertips. And if you stand really still and you're patient, the hummingbirds will come to you. If you're in an area with hummingbirds, I don't think I have to say that. And they will start to gain your trust, and they will stop flapping their wings and use your fingers as little perches. It's pretty darn cool to see, and you can see them here on YouTube. It's pretty inspiring. Kaio says, I'm not going to lie, Carey Unhinged is pretty entertaining. Maybe we should retitle the video.
We totally should.
Just get a hinge and a picture of me.
I could do that.
Watching the hummingbirds chase each other is crazy. We have this feral cat. I was looking out the window, and the cat was stalking a butterfly. I wanted to get the camera out and film it. It was cute. It's like sneaking up. I was like one of those, almost like a moth-like butterfly. And as I thought about it, I didn't want to stop watching it because I'd have to go get the phone, to turn the camera on. And then as I was watching it, the butterfly flew over the fence and the cat play was over. But it went on longer than I thought. I would have had time to get the phone and go back, but you missed out because you weren't here earlier. David Ice says, Carey, I love the content and went back to watch what I missed since being in the hospital. All is great. Keep up the awesome work. Well, I hope you're doing better, David. I'm sorry to hear you were in the hospital, but hopefully sounds like they took care of you. Sarge Tech says he's got a hummingbird feeder, and it's so nice seeing them. Almost that time of year again. We get them all year round here. Yeah. My father calls them humming pigs because he has to keep refilling the hummingbird feeder quite often. So they're humming pigs because of how quickly they go through the nectar. What is it?
Nectar.
Sugar water?
Pretty much.
I might be part hummingbird.
Look all the Gatorade. That's your hummingbird water.
Do they growl if you try and take it away?
I know you do.
I guess nobody's brave enough to ask any more questions. I tried to delay install, thinking somebody would have the guts to, have a question. They're afraid to ask because my answers are very forceful. They're not insulting. They're forceful, but not in a bad way. Kind of like a drill instructor or a coach. Give me 10 more. You can do it. Nutty said he would be there tomorrow. Nutty's here all the time. He's been a little bashful, but he's hanging out, and maybe he'll have something to say tomorrow. I don't know. He's on strike right now, I think. Something going on.
Strike.
Yeah.
What, lack of nuts or?
I don't think he thinks his payment of nuts is adequate for the work he does.
He wants shelled walnuts.
It's always something with these squirrels. You got to keep close eye on them squirrels, I'll tell you what. Andy says there's plenty of sugar in this Gatorade. There is, I know. Why do you think I drink it? Patrick Manny says he's tired of working for peanuts. Peanuts? This guy gets hazelnuts. You have any idea how much those are a pound? What is for dinner tonight? Patrick wants to know.
Well, look at me.
Are you not eating?
Healthy.
You're fasting?
Low carb, sugar free.
Low carb, sugar free.
Vegan.
And vegan. So soil? We'll just go straight to the source. We'll get you some soil.
Fried.
Can't have fried soil.
Why not?
It's too crunchy.
It's too crunchy.
Just eat some grape nuts and be done with it.
Gross.
And then take your broken teeth to the dentist. What am I going to do for dinner? Somebody says lasagna. Someone says pork chops.
No.
Yeah, I don't eat that. Sarge Tech said Filberts are $6.99 a pound from nuts.com.
Oh, I love nuts.com. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff.
It's nuts.
Not just nuts.
Totally nuts.
They also sell almond flour, pistachio flour. They sell a whole bunch of things that I wasn't able to get usually in the market.
John F. wants to know if I can delete all the versions of Visual C++. There are about 10 of them. I wouldn't if I were you. You may have multiple applications that need different versions. So if you did like an Acronis system image and then uninstalled one of them and then give it about a month, and if you don't notice any adverse effects, then rinse and repeat. It's a very time-consuming, cautious process. I do not advise it. They're likely there as a result of a piece of software you have installed that required it. Whether or not you still use that software, I can't say. But this idea that because you have 10 of them, that the latest one is the only one that matters does not apply in this case. Visual C++ has different versions because different products require different versions. So they're likely there for a reason, and they likely aren't really taking up any space. So unless you want to create a problem, You want to make your life interesting? Your life is too boring? Well, I think things might get interesting. Other than that, I'd leave them alone. He says, okay, thanks. See, that wasn't so bad, was it? He asked a question. I was honest. Didn't bite his hand off or anything. Tim Soul with a $10 Super Chat contribution. Thank you, Tim. Hey, if you think I just hang out like this, you think more Super Chats will come in? Then I can take you to Red Lobster.
No.
Oh,
No.
Low carb, sugar-free.
No.
It's sugar-free.
No.
Sugar-free lobster.
No.
How about Beyond Lobster?
No.
Impossible Lobster?
Impossible Lobster. Pepsi Crab.
Mint Pringles. Peeps Soup. Cauliflower pasta. It's always in stock. Pandemic or not, we will always have it in stock. Dasani water.
Less sodium.
You know what we're going to do what's for dinner? I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I probably need to eat today at some point. Beef jerky and Doritos?
Gross.
More for me. John F. contributed $5 in Super Chat. He says, thanks again from a fellow Michigander. See, I knew there was something about that guy I liked. I knew it. Thank you, John. At least his name isn't John R. If you're from Detroit, you'll get that. Mark Gaines, who joins us all the way from the UK, contributes £10. He's a frequent contributor. Thank you, Mark. Always good to see you. Cheers, I should say. It's British. Or Irish. I can't remember. It's in the UK, though, so play it safe. Elko says it's way past dinner time for me at 2 a.m. That's prime eating time. That's time to break out the Cheez-Its. Yeah, midnight snack. That's what I mean, yeah. Roy says late supper. Well, it's better than a last supper. So the links, getting back to the subject, the links on the video, you'll see one is sold out, but they'll probably get more in. And then there's another version. So remember I said I had about 20 of these to do. You can't write a script because they're mostly different. I just want to give you an example before I go, because it just occurred to me, the other one that arrived today kind of looks the same and it kind of looks different. So I'll give you an idea of the difference between them. As a reminder, here's what this one looks like. And here's what this other one looks like. Very similar, slightly different face, a lot of the same ports. This one is also all display port. Like I said, this is a changeable port. I've seen where these are HDMI on some models. And you notice this one doesn't have this up here. This one doesn't have a screw. Instead, it's got this latch. Again, it's a business machine. So you slide the latch like that, and then you can slide the cover off exactly the same way, same moving it forward and lifting it off. Oh, this has a mechanical drive in it. That's got to go. I didn't realize that when I ordered. Well, maybe I did. So you got to pay attention to the details in the eBay listing. Clearly, I wasn't paying attention because that means I have to switch this out. This, first of all, isn't secured at all. I don't see any screw. Oh, yeah, there's no screws in this. That's not good. Remember I mentioned Toshiba drives and how slow they are? This is one of them. So the good news is it's bigger, right? 200, well, no, it's the same size as the other one. A lot of these are coming with 128 gigs, but that one That one has 250. So this is the same size, but it's going to be like 80 megabytes a second. This is really, really slow. And I cannot secure a drive in here without the screws. So the good news is if it's a solid state drive, it doesn't need to be secured. It can bounce around. It won't hurt anything. But I really do like to do things right. So I'll scour eBay to find the screws. Somebody's probably got them. Is there RAM in this thing? I mean, how much did they take me to the cleaners on this one? Oh, there's no RAM in it at all. I think I screwed up when I ordered this because now I got to put RAM. Oh, no. There's a RAM module. I stand corrected. It's right there. I think I'm seeing things. Oh, I know what I was thinking. I can put a little, I've got a couple spare wireless M.2s. I don't know that it's called M.2, but you know, the little wireless cards. And then I can put a SATA SSD in there. I've got a few SATA SSDs nobody wants. I think that'll solve my problem. And the screw for the SSD is in there. We'll be okay. That must be what I was thinking. I can't remember. I ordered so many of these from so many different sellers. This one is a one-off. And again, that's why a script isn't going to work for me. So the difference between the G1, the G2, and the G3. Also, the power consumption might be different. Is this 35? How many watts does this say it has? Or is it going to take? 35 watts as well. That's the EliteDesk 800 G3 Mini. Yep. USB ports are not blue on the back, so I wonder if they're not USB 3. What CPU does this have? I don't even know. They should all be 6500. And you'll see it says it was designed for Windows 8. So that's more labor, more time, just so I can give it away. Who says I don't care? Who says I'm mean? Come on, guys. Nobody said that, but you know, beside the point. Check your phone, you missed my contribution. Oh, shame on me, I have not checked my phone, except when it beeped. I didn't check it. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. No, if you've sent me anything, I never got it. Or I haven't gotten it yet. Paul Howe said, Carey, I just had a bag of smoky bacon crisps. Oh, yeah? Me too. Smoky bacon crisps. I'm sorry, I don't have enough to share. This is just barely enough. Look at these little tiny British bags. In America, that bag would be like measured in gallons. My precious. I think Lay's potato chips is Walker in England. I think it's the same company. So how come they don't offer this flavor in America? Should I do this right? Welcome to Report of the Week.
No.
Today, let me let my fingernails grow really long and let me grease my hair back and put on a suit 2 sizes too big. He's a super cool guy, though. I'm not making fun of him. We roast the ones we love. Welcome to the Report of the Week. Today I have Walker's Smoky Bacon Crisps. And there's the inside of the bag. Is that enough of that? You guys watch Report of the Week? Guy's a genius. I love that guy. I think the microphone can really make this ASMR out of this crunch.
That sound you're hearing happens all the time.
All throughout the house. I wonder where Carey is. Oh, those are good. Oh, I need to change my pants. They're that good. Oh, thanks, Patrick. Welcome to Report of the Week Food Review. Pretty good. I gotta look contemplative when I do this, like I've never had food before. What do you call this? A crisp? I have to say, it's the best chip that ever existed. And Americans have no idea what they're missing. I may give up my citizenship and move to England just so I can have these every day. Or order them on Amazon. I found dinner. It's not low carb. No. More for me. You want me to wrap it up?
Yes.
That's rude. Mark Leibowitz says, Carey, one thing you won't get in England is too hot. You believe that?
I believe it, yeah.
I don't know. I've been out in 40-degree weather, and I'm like, we don't need a jacket. The Higgins says, Carey, pass the chips. You're sharing, right? No.
No, he'll growl at you.
It's a good way to lose a finger.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoy watching a lot of the music reaction videos. Camera Girl doesn't like that. But I enjoy seeing people listening to music for the very first time and seeing how they react. It reminds me of how I responded the very first time I heard some of these like 80s hits. Some of them are fake, but you can tell when they're sincere or when they're not paying attention. And there's a guy now who's probably about my age, and he reviews the reviewers reviewing, or sorry, he's reacting to the reactors reacting to the music.
I hope it's all negative.
Some of it is. See, that's what kills me about a lot of the music reviews, is people are always very upbeat, very happy. Take a guy like Mr. Video. Mr. Video is fantastic. I love this guy. He's a real entertainer. You have other people that just put the headphones on and they go, it's boring. And some of this music is very powerful and they're not emotionally responding, so they're not really listening. And anyway, so this guy, what's this guy called? I gotta find him because I want to give him a shout out. He's got a smaller channel and deserves more views. Show him a little love. So he's reacting to the people reacting to videos. It's pretty hilarious. Let's see if I type in YouTube, reacting to reactor to reacting. It's like reacting with a 3, like reacting cubed. I can't remember what his name is. His channel name. I just stumbled on it last night, and the guy's very passionate. That's what I dig. That's my jam. Reacting, maybe I just put a 3 after the word reacting. Nope, nope, nope. All right, well, this guy loves level 42. So if I type in, this guy is like obsessed. You know how Mitch is with Toto? That's what this guy is with level 42. His name is Reacting to Reactors Reacting. That's his YouTube channel. Reacting to Reactors Reacting. He's got fewer than 3,000 subscribers. Hey, look, if you grew up with this music in the 80s, there's a lot of that. And he's pretty critical of some of the reactors not really appreciating the music, not getting it. I like that. I like that honesty. So I know, what a shock. I wouldn't expect it that I like things that are authentic and genuine. But yeah, I wish I'd have found him sooner. I enjoy seeing somebody that passionate. Like, he was so tickled that, what's his face? There's a Pulse 880 Radio, is it? Is that the guy's name? No, that's not the guy. Where's the guy? Where's the guy? There's a guy who does music reaction videos. He's very popular. And he did a reaction video to Level 42's Something About You, and he couldn't believe it because that song isn't very well known outside of the 1980s. People never even heard of Level 42. And he was so excited to watch this big time, popular reviewer expose this song, this group really, that he loves so much, to a whole new audience, that he felt like he had Kleenex and he was wiping tears from his eyes, how happy he was that another generation of people who've never heard this got exposed to it, and so it lives on. That's real passion. You just don't see that every day. That's not if that guy's an actor, he should be in Hollywood and be making movies. They look like real tears to me, and he's not even part of the band. He's that big of a fan. Be like telling Mitch Toto broke up. You better get some Kleenex. Like, he's passionate. I love to see that. It's people showing their vulnerability online. It takes a lot of guts. I got a lot of respect for that. So in any event, when you're looking to squirrel away a few hours, just type in some of your favorite music in the past and type in the word reaction. And it's kind of addicting to see some people reacting with the enthusiasm that that song deserves. In any event, I guess that'll wrap it up. You want me to wrap it up?
Yes, I do.
Well, when the boss says you gotta go, you gotta go. J-Dog says, I love Mr. Video. Mr. Video was watching the Gorillaz song Dare, D-A-R-E. Hilarious. He did Fleetwood Mac, the song Dreams. And as soon as the song starts, he's got headphones on. You can hear the acoustics. They're really ethereal. And he stops and he goes, look at my arm. Because he's got goosebumps. He goes, I've become a pickle. I'm a pickle. Yeah, when you're seeing somebody get goosebumps from a song that doesn't give me goosebumps anymore, but I remember it used to, that's really heartwarming. Mark Gaines contributes again 10 pounds. See, I told you if I stayed on longer. I am tech busker. I'm gonna have a little hat, play a little guitar. I think that's called a ukulele. Mark says or asks, Carey, Walker's does 45-gram bags. Hold on, wait a minute. I'm going to do the math here. We don't do anything in grams unless it's illegal drugs. So I've been told. This is 32.5 grams. So an additional, what size did he say? 45 is 10.25 more grams, which is approximately 1/3 of this bag. So the bag will be that much, really? Come on, Mark. He doesn't know American sizes. I need a bag. By the way, this isn't family size. This is a standard American bag of chips. How many grams is this? British, American. Single serving? Single serving, well, maybe. This is 9 ounces. This is 255.1 grams. I need, let's see, 32.5 divided by 255. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, 210, 240. I need 8 bags of these to equal 1 bag of these. It's so much waste to the landfill. You know, Britain doesn't seem to care about the environment. That's all I'm saying. The British are going, what is roulette? Roulette is a mixture of chips that are traditional nacho cheese flavored Doritos combined with spicy nacho cheese flavored Doritos combined with extra spicy nacho cheese flavored Doritos, all mixed up in the bag, so it's a bit of roulette. Some chips are hot, some chips are not. Why'd you get Doritos as a sponsor? I probably owe them money though. All right, my tiny little British bag will go right over here next to my little teacup. Thanks, guys, for hanging out. Thank you, Mark, for all of your contributions. Thank you to everybody who's supporting the channel, either through contributions, both financial or just contributing in the chat room, being friendly and having a good give and take in the chat room with respectful conversation. I love that. I can't get enough of it. Mark Gaines, John F., Tim Soul, Diane in Northwest Chicago, who just became a new member. Thank you, Diane. Robert Cross. And my contributions aren't going any further back than that. And I don't know if I caught Robert's contribution earlier. I apologize that I didn't shout that out earlier. And Tim just contributed $2 again. He says, I appreciate everything you do on your YouTube. Thank you, Tim. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being kind. Mark Gaines says Doritos taste like cardboard. Well, what's wrong with that? Nacho cheese flavored cardboard. Oh, you know what else tastes like cardboard?
Everything you eat.
I got nothing. Cardboard. You put enough nacho cheese on it, it'll be delicious.
Or pizza.
You could put tomato sauce and mozzarella cheese on a piece of cardboard. Thin crust. It's a lot of fiber. It's good for you. Domino's pizza. That's not pizza. I don't know what that is, but it's not pizza. The Higgins says Doritos Roulette are chips that fell on the floor with other flavors and they were too lazy to separate them out. I would pay extra for that. Sarge Tech says Doritos with ranch dressing is good. Ugh, not a fan. You can, if I'm not there, you start without me. Christopher Raybone says, another great stream, Carey. See, that guy gets it. Christopher gets it. Thank you, Christopher. Kenny Whidden said, wheat bread tastes like cardboard. Yeah, I don't know. I've had wheat bread that tasted exactly like white bread. I couldn't tell it apart. You ever go to Outback Steakhouse and they give you that like wheat honey? Oh, you don't eat that. It's delicious. I've had some rye bread that was pretty tough, but still delicious. I don't know. I guess I like cardboard. Maybe that's what it just is.
Yeah.
Larry from California, LRCX in the chat says, Carey, it's been a while. I just caught the end of this one. Hey, well, you have plenty to watch. This is my second live stream today. There's about 5 hours of video for you to catch up on. So there'll be a test later, and I expect you're going to pass. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for stopping by. I will see you all again very, very soon. Tomorrow, as a matter of fact, at 1 o'clock Pacific time, Mitch Morrison will join me. We'll put Camera Girl to work. We're going to build the 13900KS. Watch me waste my money. I hope you'll join me as we put together a system that guzzles power like a 1960s muscle car. Like gas isn't, there's just, it's a resource, what's the word? It's a resource, it's not a finite resource. There's just, we're gonna just go through all the gas because it just keeps, we have no shortage of it. Well, that's what Intel has done with this chip. They've just cranked everything to 11. They're sucking up all the power. It's a bear to keep it cool. I'm probably going to see my power meter spin when I turn it on, but it's fast, just like an old school muscle car. It'll put your foot to the floor. You can watch your gas gauge drop, but it's fast. Yeah, pretty stupid build, but that's what I'm going to do tomorrow because I want the views.
And the awesome thumbnail.
And I have an excuse to put Camera Girl to work for some amazing close-ups. Garfield Rupe with $2 contributed. Thank you to Garfield. That's going to wrap it up for me for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for participating. Thanks for your contributions. Thanks to my members, my friends in blue. Hey, there's Mitchell Morrison in the chat room saying he will be here. I hope so. It's a hard show to do with Mitchell Morrison if he's not here, unless we have like a cardboard cutout. Hi, I'm Mitch Morrison. I like Toto. Does that sound like him? No. I also need some stilts. And then Mitch will be like, and be more attractive. What I hear that comedian say, I was going to tell that joke. That comedian, Brian Kiley. Pretty funny guy. YouTube Brian Kiley, K-I-L-E-Y. Look up Dry Bar. Funny YouTube channel. One of the jokes is, a friend of mine is atheist. He says, I don't know what his religion is, but he's, his friend says, how can you believe in God? His atheist friend says, how do you believe in God if you can't see him? How do you know he exists? And he says, well, I know Home Depot employees exist. I never see them either. Anyway, he does these quick one-liners, kind of old school jokes, kind of the Henny Youngman, Ronnie Dangerfield, quick one-liners. His name is Brian Kiley, and he's been around 30 plus years doing comedy on David Letterman and all the talk shows back in the 90s and early 2000s. And he's got a special now available at Dry Bar. I should get paid for this, but he's genuinely funny, and you should check it out if you enjoy funny. And if you don't enjoy funny, then I don't know what to tell you. Can't help you. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow, 1 o'clock, live, 1 p.m. Pacific. That's 4 p.m. Eastern. I hope you'll join us then. Until then, bye for now. Don't touch my chips. I'm not kidding. It's not funny. Don't touch my chips.
I don't want them.
Good. Don't touch my chips.